Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Well, hopefully we're here to talk Graps, because talking is the hardest thing I have to do right now. But welcome to another edition of Grapsody. I'm Will Washington. I'm getting better, but as you can hear, still a little sick. So the guys who are going to do the majority of the talking tonight are my boys, Philip Lindsay.
What's going on, man? I saw everybody's tweets and messages last night. Wasn't watching SmackDown when it was announced, but what can I say? I made my point, man.
I actually missed all of SmackDown last night because it's NBA playoff time, and my team's doing quite well, and they need me watching, because I feel like when I'm not watching, they're not getting my energy, and if they're not getting my energy,
you're not
how
worried
can they
about
win?
Minnesota, bro. You're not worried about losing to
Everything's okay over there.
Also, here is Righteous Reg.
Hey, it's me, Media Man, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster in the building. It's Saturday. My team is wilding. We stomping players on the court. You know, it's like regular, normal activities are going on out here. What can I say?
The way that I laughed at that clip over No Hose.
I'm saying, come on, man.
Did
he think nobody was gonna see him? There's 4K cameras in your face,
Bruh clacked his feet together after he did it.
He did. That's the worst part. Ran off like a leprechaun or some shit out here. What's going on here?
And we have a guest here this week on Grapsody. Every once in a while, we always want to have one of our boys, somebody from the community, somebody who we very much respect and always want to always like talking to, always want to have their voice represented here on the show. And Blue has always been one of those voices. Blue, thank you for being here on Grapsody.
Man, thank you for having me. I'm kind of upset because I actually watched SmackDown, so I thought we were going to talk about it.
No, please.
There's nothing to really talk about, but I'm just saying that I actually had to go through SmackDown.
I think I watched the second half of SmackDown last night. Actually,
all right, I guess, yeah. But yeah, shout out to the Nets.
I was flipping back and forth.
2-1 on them Cavs. Knicks and 6.
It's gonna be tough for y'all. I don't know about 6. I don't know about Knicks and 6.
You're right, 5.
So, I mean, look, I think the justice I'm feeling for the Nuggets right now is over how many people were dismissing the Nuggets. They're like, oh, this is the least intimidating number 1 seed. You know, I saw somebody literally tweet, and I've been staring at that tweet. I keep going back and finding it after every game that said Wolves in 4. And I just thought, what are y'all talking about?
Somebody was wild.
Yeah, somebody was delusional. After you watched them blow that game to the Lakers and play in, you really thought they were going to beat Denver in 4 games? You just trolling.
I know. And the fact that now they're looking at getting swept is it feels pretty good.
Listen, man, Towns is planning his Cancun trip right now, bro.
Straight up, right now.
Facts.
He on Expedia. He got Expedia dialed up right now, bro. I'm on my way. One more game.
I thought there would be a lot more sweeps this season, honestly, or this round.
Yeah.
And I am shocked that it is really down to Denver and Philly as the only two with the potential to do it. I definitely was not expecting Milwaukee to give up game 1. That shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But of course, I still think they'll take the series.
Yeah.
But either way, I love playoff basketball. It is the most fun time.
Yeah,
like
super fun.
I'm not one of those guys, because you know me. I watch 82 games a season. I'm not gonna miss anything. But I know why there is that feeling amongst people who say, "Oh, I don't watch regular season basketball. I only watch playoff basketball." It's because it is the most exciting time of the year. There's
is.
nothing like playoff basketball. I can't wait. Is it next year that they're going to do the midseason tournament? Because I think that's a good idea to keep people interested in regular season basketball. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what is that even going to be for? Is it just
That's what I said. They still doing that? Or it was just like I think they try to do a tournament after the season. Was that it, or is it in between the season?
I thought they said. I thought the new the players' agreement included a new mid-season tournament that was going to start next year, just to kind of give some reason to watch during the regular season.
But what are you winning though?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. What do you really win here? It is just the thing, just to say we won this.
Trophy?
Participation trophy, not into it.
I have to look up what that is. Hold on,
man.
What about permanent home court advantage?
Maybe they're setting up this tournament because they know your boy's not winning no more rings, so they gotta give him something to win.
They're like, we gotta give my man a trophy somehow.
Yeah, there it is. The NBA in-season tournament would begin in 2023/2024 season. Hold on. Damn it doesn't like my ad blocker. Are you kidding me? With season prizes for final teams, what would they be? Is the question.
Season prizes. What the hell is this, man?
They're giving out shit like this double dare or some shit.
Right.
Get
extra picks.
Prizes.
Yeah,
You get everybody gets a pair of BK Knights. Let's go.
Exactly.
Let me get the light up one, Scotch.
The BK Ratch Tech with the clicking sound when you. Yep. You can tell we watched
Mark Summers when you need him. Yeah, no, we're 90s kids. We established that like pretty much every episode.
A Legend of the Hidden Temple. Yeah, that's something along those lines for what we were watching to know that we wanted to either win our BK Ratch Tech or we wanted to win that trip to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
1000%.
Nah, they definitely about to have them out there playing for mountain bikes.
No, for real.
Yeah, part of the new collective bargaining agreement that they signed in 2022 is that midseason tournament will begin with the 2023-2024 season. It's going to be a part of the calendar.
I'm with Phil. They're trying to get your man some trophies and some accolades before he goes.
First ever champion.
Yeah, come on. What is this?
Like I said, I don't mind it as an idea of just putting some stakes to mid-season games. I can see that like there is a stretch in the middle of the season where you're just kind of playing, and I can see doing a mid-season tournament. But again, what is this for?
And on top of that, like, what do you do with the All-Star game then? Because that's what the All-Star is supposed to be. Like, a break, something exciting. It hasn't been exciting anymore. Like, so what's happening?
Yeah, I don't really see the point of it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, but it is part of the CBA, so we'll see what that ends up being. It's definitely in place. And don't forget with this being Grapsody. And again, I apologize for how raspy I sound. This is the best I've sounded all week, though. So consider this an improvement over how it's been. I had to cancel Day After Dynamite this week. I was hoping, like Thursday, I just sounded like hell. And then yesterday, it was like barely holding on. Like I was trying to do an impersonation of how bad it was, but I can't even do that because my throat's that strained. And so I do want to remind people, though, that you can send us your super chats. You can send us your humper chats, help support what we do here at Grapsody, and help support what we do here at Fightful. YouTube.com/Fightful is the way to get us your super chats. And then humperchats.com is the way to get us your humper chats. And you could be like Mr. Jake Salazar, who says, Phil, it's time your guy Seth stops bootlicking and just leave WWE because they're really doing him dirty right now. The hand thing is starting to hold some weight to it now because this is appalling. Of course, referring to the fact that it was announced yesterday that at Backlash, Seth Rollins will be facing Omos. Why are we doing Omos dirty like this, man? Like, no, I'm kidding. I will say that, I liked the Brock and Omos match. It actually did. It was interesting. What was interesting about it was seeing Brock Lesnar get manhandled. because that's what Brock Lesnar does. And so somebody bigger than Brock helped tell kind of a fun story. I'm interested, I guess, in what they have to, what this is going to offer Seth Rollins, but also, why did you just announce this? There's no reason for this at all.
Because,
Like,
well, yeah. If you haven't noticed, Jake, I'm no selling your take there because no, it doesn't hold any weight. It couldn't hold weight if it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fuck out
But there he goes. And is Jake, is Brock Lesnar a good hand? Because he just wrestled almost. There it is.
We gotta stop
WrestleMania.
misusing this term. Again, this is all your fault, Sean Spears. I'll never forgive you for this. I will never forgive you for teaching wrestling fans good hand.
And some other things I'll never forgive you for too, Chairman. Get that theme back with Josiah, okay?
Yeah.
but the problem is that's gonna give like Josiah like 5 themes on Tuesday, or on AEW TV.
He's cooking.
Because he got AR. Because he's got AR Fox's theme. He's got
Taya.
Taya. Yeah, like I think it was probably the right call to switch some of it up, just to have different voices throughout theme songs.
True.
Speaking of which, give your boy Reg a call. I'm sure he would like
Call
to.
me. I'm back in the game, man. I took a break from rap, but I'm rapping like a motherfucker now. Got some shit coming very soon, you guys. It's gonna be fun. Summertime. Summertime. We about to be in Las Vegas. There's a lot going on here very soon. I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, are you guys all booked for Vegas?
Not booked, but we're working on it.
I mean, like, look, hotels are looking like stupid
crazy.
expensive
Yeah,
right now.
it's crazy.
So, I definitely have people hitting me up to do the collective Airbnb thing again. And you know what? That's probably sounding like a good idea.
It is.
We'll get some bunk beds and tell some stories.
Exactly.
That's what we do. Yeah. Why are you shaking your head, Phil?
Phil said, "Nah, why not, Phil?"
I am not getting in no bunk bed. I don't know what the hell you talking about.
That's fair.
Camp Vegas. It sounds fun, no?
Yeah, no. But Blue, would you do a bunk bed?
I have. Me and my boys, when we went to we go traveling to go shows, we rotate who gets the best rooms, and then somebody else ends up getting like the bunk bed or the miniature bed.
Yeah,
Yeah, like this is how this goes.
It's not.
This is an Airbnb culture. Phil, acting like you're too good for a bunk bed.
He is.
I am.
Well, clearly, did you ever have to share like a room with
Can't
siblings?
be 30 in a bunk bed, man. That's crazy. Being 30 in a bunk bed.
No, I lucked out because I was the only boy, and so the two girls always had to share a room, and that was I always managed to get my own room.
See, my brother and I had to share a room forever.
Yeah.
Even when my oldest brother, when he moved out, when he joined the military, it was all exciting because me and my other brother were like, yes, we get our own rooms. And we got our own rooms. And then he came home from the military and was like, nah, I'm taking my room back. And so I then had to move back in with my brother and bunk bedded up. And then, as a matter of fact, I always got the short end of the stick because when my brother, when my oldest brother was moved out, and so it was just me and my other brother, and we had our own rooms finally. And then when my brother decided he wanted to start rapping, and my parents they encouraged all of it. And they were like, all right, we're going to build you guys a studio. And so they were like, all right. So Curtis gets his own room. Or Curtis, you're going to move back in with Will, and we'll build you guys a studio. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not recording music right now. Although I was listening to some of my beats from when I was like 12, and they're not that bad.
You got a couple bangers on. You gonna send me an email file or what? What's up?
You got the Fruity Loops guy.
They were whack, but they were like, you know what?
Wait, what year was that?
Would have been like 99.
That determines a lot what year it was.
Yeah. So it was like I was listening to him just yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I had a really good understanding of percussion for a 12-year-old. These aren't as bad as I thought they were.
What program are you using?
Their Cakewalk was what I was using back then.
The Fruity Loops. That was the
No, Fruity Loops was dope. We didn't get Fruity Loops till like 01.
Yeah.
We started with Cakewalk Home Studio. and with the Sound Blaster Live, with the MIDI keyboard. And that was where my brother and I started making music. He got really good at it. I get really nostalgic sometimes. And I was listening to a lot of our old music and a lot of his old music. And he had some really good stuff. He had some stuff that was almost single worthy. Every time I come across an old track, I've got like maybe hundreds of old stuff that we used to record. And I was sending him stuff yesterday, just like, do you remember this song? He's like, I don't remember recording this at all. Like, I know. It was great stuff though.
That's dope.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, shout out to my boy Buster B, who we recorded an album back in like 2000. He finished it in 2006, and it was like some of those fire shit. I loved it, and he never put it out. Never.
Wow.
It'd be like that. Artists are like that sometimes.
I got a friend like that. To this day, I still listen to his mixtape. Like, I created a mixtape for him to all his best songs. Created a mixtape. I'm like, yo, you gotta put this out. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, what you mean? Like,
You're like, no, somebody's got to hear this.
right. I
There
still
are
listen to it to this day.
There are lines that are like stuck in my head that nobody would ever know because it's just stuff I recorded with friends, and it's like, damn.
Yeah. They're like,
We're coming up on the
lyrical. I'm like, nah, it's good.
Let's see. We got another one. Chi-Town Spurs says, this might be controversial, but the NBA is better when the Knicks are in the playoffs. And I used to hate that team.
I agree. It's time.
I don't know what makes it different. I don't know. What makes it special that the Knicks are in the playoffs?
New Yorkers got to get their shit off, Phil. Duh.
Do you see how the fan base is after 2 wins?
Do I see how the fan base is? I see how they
Like,
are every
this
time they
brings
win
the
anything.
we bring energy to the league. That's what it is.
Okay.
like it.
New Yorkers are funny, man.
Yeah.
I know y'all are not paying attention to the rest of the league. I do think it is funny though that both the New York's teams are in the playoffs. One's not walking out of this round. All of California's teams are in,
Let's go, baby.
I mean,
but none of Texas's teams are.
I mean,
None, not one.
I mean, both teams aren't making it out of this round.
What do you mean? You wildin'?
You think Cavs are losing?
Yes, I do.
You said Cavs in 6. I mean, Knicks in 6.
I think Cavs is winning the series, man.
Nah, it's too much on this. Like, we got a good point guard with Brunson. Randall starting to get into his groove. I feel like we got it this time, at least in this first round.
I like your optimism, but
Yes.
Garland and Spider and Mobley is they got better team, man.
All right, we'll see. I'm just saying.
I mean, look, I would love, and I know Phil would too. I think that's the thing that Phil's most looking forward to. I think Phil deep down just wants to see the Cavs move forward and the Lakers not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. I don't know. Like, I could be off, but I don't know. I do think people are writing Memphis off too soon, though.
Yeah. Me too.
I
I think they got a fighting chance at least.
Wouldn't be surprised if they lose, though, because that's how these things usually work out. And as I've said on other episodes, I just feel like the way that the playoffs has panned out, all of the tougher 4 teams that he would have to play are going to have to play each other. It feels like he's going to end up, if he gets out of this round, leading the Lakers to Western Conference Finals.
You know what time
people
it is.
are going to act like, oh, man, this was a great postseason for him.
He did it again
He did it again.
by himself.
You know what time it is. Shannon Sharp gonna be in there getting his shit off. He can't wait.
I am happy though that playoff Jamal Murray is back. That it was, obviously he hasn't played in the playoffs since the bubble, but he was the guy everybody was talking about in the bubble. That playoff Jamal Murray just has it. And I was not sure if we were going to see what that looked like this season because this is his first season back. That man missed 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And he still has it.
Right.
He scored 40 points in a victory.
Still got it, champ. It's crazy.
That man had 40 points in game 2. I don't know. I'm having fun. I am very much having fun as a basketball fan.
A lot of good stuff going around around the league.
As much as I've I've gotten used to saying that people in Chicago are owed apologies. Russell Westbrook is owed apologies, man.
Big apologies.
Yeah.
Facts.
Because he has been balling out, and he has been fun to watch. Him versus KD has been great. I think people owe my man a lot of apologies, man.
Yeah.
I think whoever dude that was talking crazy in that suite, now watch your mouth, man.
Yeah. It's not sweet in this suite, big dog. Like, we can fight.
No. Watch your mouth, bro. But yeah, last game, watching him against KD getting that block and them jawing at each other a little bit, jawing after the game, and then people had to make it corny and go, see, they hate each other.
Nah.
Like, no, it's basketball.
It's competitive
Everybody,
basketball.
That don't mean they hate each other, man.
Let's read some humper chats because we got a few of those, and I want to make sure that we don't miss anybody's humpers. But Hala says, unbelievable that AEW was able to bug Hart versus Hogan in 2023. Wow. Hope you're feeling better, Will.
That's hilarious.
Of course, we're talking about CM Punk possibly working Chris Jericho.
Which one of these people are Hogan? Because
You know which one is Hogan in this.
I do, but I don't know if everybody does.
I don't think everybody does. No.
Let's see. We got.
It's Jericho. I don't want you guys to. There's no mysteries over here. We let you know.
Anwar says, it would be cool if y'all put together a musical playlist for fans of this show someday. Have a nice day. I was thinking about that, actually. That was
idea.
one of the ideas I've had for a while, was that I wanted to do kind of a Grapsody playlist. But you know what I wanted to do? So the idea I had was, do you guys remember BET Top 25? Where, for those who don't recall, it was where they take a specific artist and they would, for I think it was like a 3-hour show, but that artist would count down their top 25 songs of all time. And I always loved watching those because they would go in between the song and you get kind of moments from the artist talking about, this is why this song was special to me, this is why this meant something to me. And like BET Top 25, one of my favorite shows ever. I used to watch that on Saturdays. I'm like, oh, it's Kanye West Top 25, let's go. Like, I love hearing what influenced certain artists. And of course, Kanye's number one, I believe, was a Kanye track, right? Like, that made sense. But
I expect nothing less from Kanye West.
Come on.
but I always enjoyed that show. And I had this idea recently of like, what if we did that with Grapsody, where we did like we made like a YouTube playlist, but in the playlist between each video, we kind of inserted a discussion around each song, and then to that song, and then a discussion, and then that song. And so you could kind of watch what mattered to us musically, and like we could kind of give our takes on our music.
I like it.
That sounds dope.
So that was an idea I've actually had before. I haven't run it by these guys before, but that I was driving one day, and that's where I have like my best thoughts is when I'm on the road, but in the car by myself, and I'm just like, oh shit, that's a good one. But then the problem is like I can't text anybody because I'm driving. So I got to get good at like voice memos or something to just record some shit to myself. Like, remember this shit, because I haven't thought about that till I got that hover chat. So thank you, Anwar, for reminding me that I had that thought while behind the wheel.
Come on, Elliot. Send us the look, man. Send us the look to curate the title podcast.
Straight up.
Yes.
Get the Grapsody title playlist up there, man. The world is ready for it.
Damn, we should have been networking more at Wale Mania.
Yes.
Elliot was there.
By the way, Blue, are you going to Double or Nothing?
Nah, I'm probably heading for All In,
Okay.
Chicago.
Oh,
My wife hasn't been to Chicago yet, so I'll probably take her with me and have her see her first AEW event. I've been came out to Chicago for All Out, the first one. I was thinking about I saw the London one. I was like, that sounds fun. I looked at the tickets. I was like, yep, I'm gonna chill and wait.
Yeah.
Until All In. All Out. Sorry.
Yeah. Wembley. So the seat map is leaked, by the way. That we have seen what the setup's gonna look like.
Really?
Yeah, and that's looking pretty interesting. I'm not going to do it, but I think that there's enough of a look of that map now to at least be able to count how many seats they think there's going to be. Like it is cut off. So like everybody get 90,000 out of your head. Get 90,000 out.
already gone.
Why do people do this? Why?
Here's stadium. It has to be major.
Why are we trying to project the numbers for this show, man? Like I just don't get it.
It's so long, yeah.
But again, like I said, get 90,000 out. It's not happening. They are not set up for 90,000. You can look at this map and go, all right, half the stadium's gone, and it's not opening up. You could see where the stage is. You could see that they're going to set it up like a wrestling venue. So I bet it's probably set up for like 50 to 60, which is still a massive number.
Yeah.
But like I said 2 weeks ago when this was first announced, 90,000 is not happening. And I knew that from the beginning. I knew that it didn't. Maybe they open some stuff up behind the stage if it turns out to be a huge success. But at least as far as the look is concerned right now, it looks like it's going to be set up like most arenas do, where they cut off the side behind the stage.
Well, if half of the people that registered bought 2 tickets, then they'd be able to sell 50,000 is what I heard on the internet at least. So I don't know.
I think that the registrations are up to like 50 now, I think. So
I think I was making a PW Insider joke. So a couple people out there got it.
Let's see. We got another one from Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. Always appreciate you. She says, hope Will is feeling better. Much love to all of you. The world is insane. Please stay safe. The world is insane.
It's crazy outside.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
I'm inside.
I was telling these guys before the show, I haven't been to sleep by 9 o'clock in a long time, but Thursday night, I did not feel good at all. And I was out, completely out.
Like a light.
Yep.
All right, Moro.
Speaking of which, all right, we got to have this conversation.
Which one?
We got to talk about AI tracks because
Do we?
they're blowing up right now.
Hate
Everybody's doing AI Drake. And
Stop it.
like,
Stop unironically liking it. Stop ironically liking it. Stop liking it as a joke. It's nothing good is going to come out of AI music.
no, I'll say this. AI music would be good if people were using it to be funny. Like, I felt like, I tweeted the other day, if somebody actually made a Tupac track of I wrote the song a long time ago, wrote the song in 94, like, that would actually be good. That would be funny.
But instead, they're making real Drake tracks that people are listening. You guys, where's Drake at? Your intellectual property, bro. Why are you letting this happen? You gotta take these.
He ain't gonna let it happen for long.
Right.
Y'all
Labels are
playing.
on there already. Labels is like, nah, y'all better not play this on the radio.
Labels is about to put a stop to that. That is not about to last.
This is nuts, man.
I mean, look, I've had concerns about AI for a long time. AI art, AI art is funny because
No, it's not.
for whatever reason, I say it because the one thing AI art still can't get right is hands. I don't know why. Like, no matter what, everything will look like, oh, this looks really good, and then you look, and the hands are just always like, well, what's going on? Why are they doing this?
I saw
Martin
Martin Luther King with a shape up this week, and I was like, you guys have to stop the internet, shut this AI shit down. Why does Martin Luther King have AirPods in? We gotta go. Shut this down.
Nah, man. As somebody that was an artist that knows a bunch of artists, AI art is not funny to me at all because people are absolutely losing money, or you got people getting ripped off of this. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of wild to think though that like Martin Luther King was 39 years old, and like here we are, 36, 38, 37, like
37.
you're about to
put
be.
that 8 on me. Like, what's going
You
on?
already got you. You already got shot
turn
out here.
Don't you turn 38 this year?
Yeah, why? But like not for a few months. Like you don't just throw this 38. Yeah, 38.
Are you closer to 38?
Ricky Bobby.
You are closer to 38 than you are to 37. Look, I'm 35. Like I said 30, but I will be 36 in October. But I'll round up. We're in 2023.
Don't round me up. Round me down, big bro.
I mean, you just had a birthday, so I feel
did.
like
I am 37.
You are closer to 37 right now than anything. Either way, my whole point was that we're all hovering around the age Martin Luther King was.
Yeah.
And like, so there is a piece of me that has always wondered, like, what does 2023 Martin Luther King look like? But honestly, I don't want to see that in AI form. I would like to just keep that up here.
That's it. I make my own memories, not AI memories. It's crazy.
But yeah, like the idea that AI art had to get its inspiration somewhere, right? Like it doesn't, it doesn't have an artistic eye. It doesn't have the ability to come up with something from its heart. What it's doing is it's basing its style and art off of other art it finds. So it is literally ripping off artists. And so that is a reason to feel concerned about that. Yep. And same with even with fake AI music. It's all based off of somebody's real music.
Yep.
Even if it's original in the sense of you've never heard this before, it's still based off of somebody else's actual style.
Exactly.
And somebody's actual voice.
Drizzy, you better get them boys. Don't you let them do this to you, Drizzy.
Drake's lawyers is getting ready.
It's crazy.
I don't know it yet, but they
were like, this song's about to hit a million listens on Spotify or something. I'm like, yo, that's not gonna be good for you. It's gonna be bad for you.
Do you know that another thing about the AI is the robots, the dog robots we got out here in New York? I'm in New Jersey, but in New York they have those robots.
Yeah,
I don't like those either. This is all looking like Black Mirror to me. Like
it is.
y'all ever seen Black Mirror?
Yeah.
It's like everything in Black Mirror is happening from the robot bees. Now we got robot dogs.
Robot bees.
Yo, it's crazy. Like
not the bees.
Right.
Not the bees. Robot bees in the trap is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, robot. Robot bees in the trap is crazy.
Yo, he's backing up. Yo, he said he's backing up high. Back for rapping.
Straight up.
Oh,
can't help it.
By the way, did any of you guys watch the Power Rangers special?
I did not.
Not yet.
I haven't seen it.
I was literally like up counting down the hours. I'm like, all right, it's time. And as soon as it showed up, I'm like, I am watching this. I am ready. I'm ready to see Zach and Billy do his thing. And Rocky and Kat and Trini, not there, of course, but men. We saw Aisha. We saw Adam and Rita.
You liked it?
My tweet blew up as far as my review, where I said my review is that it's cheesy, badly acted, the costumes look like shit, and it's nonsensical. 10 out of 10. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, I was like, I think you're describing Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh no, this is Power Rangers in every way that it should be. I'll give it some credit in a few places. One, who would have guessed that Power Rangers would be the brand to care about its canon more than anything else, than anyone else? That they could have very well just been like, none of this stuff needs an explanation. It's just nostalgia. But they're like, no, we're going to explain how Rita Repulsa's back. We're going to explain why Tommy is the way he is, because in canon Tommy's not dead. That Tommy is actually married to Kat, and why would that be canonically true? Well, did anybody see the Christmas special from 1996 where they flashed forward to their old age? And in doing so, Tommy and Kat were an old couple together, married. So therefore, in canon, that still has to be true. Like, this whole special really took care of all of the canon of Power Rangers to make sure.
I still remember the ski trip where he found out that Kimberly broke up with him. Like, really sent my man a John Doe letter. Like, really?
Yep, there was a lot of stuff here, and they have a kid, right? Because in Tommy's last appearance was, I think, in Ninja Steel, and he showed up with, he mentioned his kid JJ, and he's like, yeah, I'm coming to pick up JJ now. And so Kat, when she shows up, she's like, I was babysitting JJ, and so, or not babysitting, she's like, I was watching JJ. She said I was taking him to practice, and it was like, oh, because that's their kid. Haha, yeah, you guys, you kept your cannon up. Somebody was asking, how is Tommy the Green Ranger? I'm like, did you see Ninja Steel? Because in that, he had the Master Morpher that he could bring back all of his old forms. They really tried to make sure everything made sense. Even the explanation of why Rita's back, because the idea was supposed to be that at the end of In Space, all evil in the universe was purged. when Zordon died. It's called the Z Wave. And they explained that, yes, all of the evil left her body in the Z Wave, and that, but her evil spirit was still out there trying to find a new body, and it did manage to find a body. Spoilers, alphas, and that's how she becomes a robot. And
Man, not gonna let me watch it, huh? Great.
Yeah, spoilers. Big spoilies.
this very much happens in the beginning, but either way, there's a lot of other stuff. Like I said, I think they did justice by Trini's death and explaining that, and the ending tribute to Thuy Trang and Jason David Frank was really touching, and I was not expecting that, and when it hit me, I definitely shed a few tears. So overall, cheesy.
10 out of 10.
There's only like one good actor in it, and I think it's Walter Jones. Oddly enough, I think he's kind of the best actor there. Everybody else is corny as fuck, especially David Yost. I'm like, if you told me that he hasn't acted since playing Billy in the 90s, I would believe it, because whew, not good. But
Super
also,
nice guy, though.
super nice guy, and honestly, he should be corny. All of this should be corny.
Yeah,
It's pretty good, and they leave it open for another one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because money.
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah. I mean, who wouldn't know? But I liked it. I liked it a lot. Power Rangers once and always. There's a piece of me that does feel that Catherine being the pterodactyl feels wrong. And that's just because she never technically was. She was the crane. That she never had that power in Power Rangers. But otherwise, everything else is fine. Also, CG Zords suck. Like, don't do that again. If you're going to go for nostalgia, go all the way with nostalgia. Don't CG the Zords. Give us a fucking old school Sentai style guys in suits with toy buildings next to them. That's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not have Power Rangers circled on my calendar this week because this week was series finale of Snowfall and the season finale of Mandalorian. That's what was circled this week.
Wow. Busy week.
How was the season finale of Mandalorian?
I thought it was really good. I think people that have had mixed opinions of this season will really enjoy the last 2 episodes.
And then Snowfall, I've heard a lot of good things about how it ended.
Yeah, listen. I know that we've gotten this thing from watching gangster movies forever and watching drug dealers in these movies forever, where people want them to win. There is no happy ending for drug dealers.
No,
there is
not at all.
No.
And I think people that won't spoil what happened here, but people that were like, "Oh, I hate that that happened to Franklin." What did you think was going to happen to this guy? This guy's a monster. Like, have you been watching this guy for the entire season do awful things? Like, this guy is not a good person.
Yeah, that's facts. I was talking about that with my wife when we started Snowfall. We were on like season 2 or 3. And I'm like, yo, it's funny how we always rooting for the bad guy in these shows and forget that they're actually causing harm
Yeah,
to these neighborhoods.
they're bad guys.
And these bad guys, like in the season we're watching, we're mad at the cop for snitching on, on Franklin. Like, no, what you doing? Like, like he just do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
It's just weird like, how we watch this and we forget that they, the dealer is the bad guy.
Nah, this guy has been a menace for 6 seasons now. Ruined his neighborhood, ruined his entire family and friends circle's lives. But this guy's not a good person.
Good week for TV.
Yeah.
It sounds. Oh, I didn't watch Bel Air this week. Did they drop a new episode this week? I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, that's right, because I was sick.
I think last week's episode was better, personally, but it was a good episode.
Yeah, well, last week with Carlton. I mean, like I said, that was the first episode where I felt like there was finally a consequence for something, because Carlton in the car and the coke, so much went down in that episode.
My man Jeffrey.
I love Jeffrey so much.
Jeffrey
honestly.
is so great.
Jeffrey is so great.
One day, your truth is gonna have its day. One day.
Nah, Jeffrey is so dope. Like, honestly, taking him from the butler to the I just get shit done, the right hand man. Like, that's such a dope character.
Fixer Jeffrey is the best, man. Him coming in the room with him on the recent episode with Uncle Phil, and one of the guys in the room looked at him way. He's like, I don't think you want to do what you think you're doing. Jeffrey ain't Jeffrey about that action, man. Stop playing with Jeffrey.
He is.
Right up.
I am enjoying the hell out of Jeffrey. I think honestly, since the beginning, like, what happened to old boy? Like, we know he got killed, but like, did Jeffrey really handle that? Jeffrey got him up out of here.
That's what happened.
Like, got in one little fight. My mom got scared. She said, "I'm gonna call Jeffrey, and he's gonna handle this." Like, that was
Never clean up in other ways now.
He said, "You'll never have to worry about him again."
Mob talk.
Yep, that's how it's been. I don't know. I like it. Let's see. We got another super chat or humper chat. This one's from D-Lo. It says, "Sup, fellas? I'm just here to watch happen. Phil and Reg cook with the topics."
Shout out to D-Lo. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, D-Lo. I'm assuming he thought you weren't going to be here because you were sick.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's here.
Yeah, I'm here. Again, struggling, but I'm here. But Grapsody's my favorite. Grapsody's my favorite part of the week, and honestly, if I couldn't do this with you guys, then I don't know what are we doing.
He's like, I was like, "What's Reg gonna cook about?" I forgot what I was gonna cook about. Then I looked at the topics, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's son of a bitch." Tony Khan, I got some words for you, big dog.
Let's see.
Episode of Dynamite. We need to get into that because there's a lot going on there.
I will get there in just a second because the Solo Sapien says, "What's good, fellas? A few weeks ago, y'all mentioned missing the rankings in AEW, and I agree. I felt it was the one thing that gave TK's booking structure and matches and feuds real consequences. I know many will disagree, but AEW feels too fast and loose now."
Fast and loose.
I do think they should bring the rankings back. I'm sure people will complain about it, but I didn't like the rankings.
Yeah, no, I agree with what was said here. It's like there was some structure to be added, some tangible thing to hold on to, and now it's just like anybody could have a shot at any time for anything if you want to.
Yeah,
I mean that's pro wrestling, but it was fun.
Let's see, we got another. All right, let's see, and then we're gonna read this one here from Deontay. It says, "Excited for All-Star Queendom, rooting for everybody except Tam Tam,
Especially Tam Tam.
I'm choosing to be positive because it feels good. I personally consider y'all the best part of my week. Love you guys. Will feel better soon, please." I'm working on it.
Very excited for this show tonight.
Yes.
Mercedes versus Mayu is definitely a dream match. That's gonna be great. We're getting the next iteration of Tam versus Julia as well. That's gonna be dope. Super excited. Think it's gonna be a good show.
Big show.
Jake Salazar says, "Nah, y'all need to put some respect on Jimmy Butler."
Did they say Jimmy Butler or Jimmy Butter?
Jimmy Butter.
Jimmy Butter.
Oh.
I mean,
Jimmy Butler's that guy, man. I've always been the Jimmy guy. I didn't think the bullshit traded him. I always thought that was a bad trade.
Right.
that was definitely a bad trade. And again, in that game, Giannis went out. That's the only one thing for Jimmy to do, take over.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you followed Jimmy for his entire career, but there's something about the Milwaukee Bucks. He seems to circle Milwaukee Bucks on his calendar every year. He does not like that team. I don't know what it is about them. He does not like that team.
Let's see. We got Meet Normus, who says, "What's good, all you people? I'm a Wizards fan. The NBA still plays this late in the year. We've been on vacation for a minute."
No, you got some joy out here of seeing your boy Kuzma try to cook Dinwiddie on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. And that's some joy that you got. Oh, that's hard out here.
Vikingo versus Gringo Loco is my match of the week. It was a hoot. Reg, I did not get to see Ring of Honor this week. How was that?
That match was a hoot and all kinds of shit. It was everything you would expect from Vikingo and Gringo Loco. Really excited that Gringo Loco is getting a shot here in Ring of Honor. Seems like they're going in on him. He's been in a couple of the tapings now. This match was a showcase of both these guys. Gringo does a couple of very insane spots, a top rope, gorilla press slam, sit out gorilla press slam. Vikingo hits like some wild dragon ranas. This was like one of those matches when we used to watch wrestling in 96 and 97 and we see Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, Rey Mysterio and Juventud taking these crazy matches around the country. This was that type of match. One of those matches where you see and you're like, man, who are these guys? I need to see them again. Perfect showcase for Gringo. Vikingo was just Vikingo again. I'm happy, like you said, you tweeted about Will Washington about the tapings being back because I'm very happy because they said that this week the main event of Ring of Honor started at like 11:30 or something, and like nobody should be watching wrestling at 11:30 p.m. after you just watched a full show of Dynamite and whatever else that Tony Khan threw at you. It's too much. It's too much.
Nah, this is the first time I actually seen Gringo Loco, to be honest with you, on Ring of Honor. And that just was very interesting. Like you said, it makes me want to look more into what he does. Right. It was a great back and forth match. Like everybody stood up for most of the match. Like you see the crowd just on their feet and just enjoying everything that was happening. Even I hopped out of the bed a couple times, like, yo, what the? Like the gorilla press off the top rope.
It's crazy.
That was crazy. I was like, I never really like thought that would happen.
Right. Yeah, being able to get a crowd like that when it's this late, that's how you know the match was nuts, that they did this and the crowd should be dead by then. Right. And they're on their feet still showing appreciation. So yeah, definitely check that match out at minimum. Takeshita and Lee Moriarty, super duper fire.
Nice, heard good things about that too,
Yeah. If I've learned anything in the last few months, it's and I've told you this, guys, and other reasons to stay off this app, but when I saw some of this discourse around like
Commander,
the rope flash, I'm just like, guys, just enjoy wrestling. Stop
Come on, man. I think the thing that gets me crazy is that they don't say it's not for me. They say it's dumb. Like instead of just being like, this is not for me, you could just be like, not for me. I like this kind of wrestling. It's great. But to be like, this wrestling is dumb is where it gets muddied up for me.
Stop it, man. Stop disrespecting
you're judging somebody else's shit. Like, I don't judge people. I don't love deathmatch wrestling, but I don't judge anyone that loves deathmatch wrestling.
I mean, there's a lot of skill and technique that goes into what Commander and Vikingo do, and
Come on. I think it's pro wrestling all around. I hate when people say this isn't wrestling. All this shit is wrestling. It's dumb. It's fake. They're fake throwing someone to the ropes and they're bouncing back. They're waiting on tables for someone to splash them through it. It's pro wrestling, dude. Shut up. Come on.
It's wrestling. It's not that serious. And I thought Commander and Jay White killed it.
That match was tough.
That was fire. Yeah. And I said the same thing. I'm like, yo, we complain about wrestling so much. We watch Fast and Furious 10 times.
I'm saying
where cars jump off of mountains and blow up and
they
land,
in space,
and nobody dies. Nobody have scratches on them. Me and my wife just watched Fast and Furious 9 last night. They actually make a joke about it throughout the entire movie, with Tyrese saying like, "Yo, I got hit with bullets, but I'm not hit with bullets. Like, what happened?" Like,
yes.
But we can watch that, but we complain about wrestling. Like, it makes no sense.
Oh man, Rock in Fast 5 when he's fighting with Vin Diesel. And they're in the dirt, but then like Rock stands up and he's still like shiny and glistening. Right. And, like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, didn't homeboy from Tokyo Drift get shot in the head and he's just back? Like none of that happened.
This is how this works, you guys. I'm like, yo, I'm like, did he die like 2 times already? How he's back in Furious 9?
I had a tweet a year ago that some people agreed with and others argued with, but you know, somebody had said, I miss when wrestling was more realistic, and I responded,
it was never realistic.
I know. I responded, no, you miss being a kid.
Because yes, exactly.
Because your parents did not think this was real. Your parents walked in the room and were like, you know, this is all phony, right? Like everybody was saying this. Nobody remember the Animaniacs skit where they were literally making fun of how fake wrestling was, and like Dr. Scratch and Sniff was like so into it, and the Animaniacs were looking at him like, you know, this is fake, right?
Yeah. Anytime one of my aunts would walk in, that's the first thing they're gonna say is, "This is fake, Reg. Why are you watching this?" And I'm just like, I don't care. It's a cool, funny show. Who cares?
So boom. Right. I'm sorry. Do anybody remember when they first found out that it wasn't real?
Oh yeah.
You
I
know,
think the thing that I watched that funny enough, it was a long time. It didn't get till 99 when I watched the Secrets of Pro Wrestling, and they really gave it all the way up. And I was like, it was crazy because it's like I kind of knew because I remember this one time when Shawn Michaels when he did the injury thing where he wrestled Owen Hart and then he fell
Right.
to the ground. That's where I kind of was like, I don't know. I don't think Shawn Michaels is really that hurt. And I remember watching that match.
I don't think he's really there.
I remember watching that match with my cousin and him being like, we should try to turn it up real loud to see if we can hear the wrestlers talk to each other. And that I don't know why he thought that, but
Right.
that always stayed in my brain. And then when it was confirmed that everything was like that, and for that night, I was like, damn, they really got me. Like they fucked me up. But it gave me a deeper appreciation for pro wrestling. Like they thought that special was going to be like, oh, wrestling's dumb and it's fake, but it made me appreciate everything more knowing the behind the scenes shit. So
Yeah. No, honestly, it was an evolution for me. Like there was never like a moment. I remember, I guess there's like a small moment I can think of. I remember watching and I remember Austin hitting Luthez press one time and his punches weren't connecting. And I remember having a thought about that, like, all right, yeah, that's what people were saying all my life.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there wasn't always an adult in my life who would walk in the room and go, yeah, the stuff is fake.
Right.
There's always was. There's never a point where, like, if I thought it was real, I was defending it from people who were telling me it was fake. I've always heard it was fake. I remember that Animaniac skit and getting kind of offended by it as a kid. But then, but now, like I said, it was one of those things where as time went on, I'm like noticing little things here and there, and I go, okay, now this is actually, all the adults in the room were right. Everybody was always saying this was fake, and now I see it. So my point here is when I hear people go, no, wrestling used to be more real. No, you were just a kid. The adults in the room were pretty certain that, and they've might have been snickering at you even.
totally.
But like I said, wrestling, there's certain things that, again, you know, because like people talk about selling a lot, right?
Right.
We always hear wrestlers should sell. You have to sell because that's how you tell a story in professional wrestling. And I 100% agree with that. I believe that with all of my heart because wrestling is storytelling. But have you ever seen an actual fight? Because people don't sell an actual fight.
No selling.
You've never
at
seen
all.
somebody get you've never seen somebody get hit and then clutch. You know,
Yeah,
no,
no.
they're gonna do what they can they're not gonna milk the crowd, they're not gonna work their way back up slowly. Like you have adrenaline in an actual
Get into
fight.
this. I want to punch this guy now. It's my turn. No, that's not how it works. They keep punching each other until somebody dies.
Like, right. That's in an actual fight, people have adrenaline. They just go. Like, you remember we saw that video of the dude taking the pile driver and getting right back up because, and then throwing punches, right? Because in a real fight, that's how that would go.
Don't sell it. Let me sell my neck for 3 minutes so the crowd can get into it. No, you got to get up and fight some more before this guy stomps your head in.
Hit the Peter Griffin.
Yeah, right. Oh, he really got me there.
Yeah, like, selling's not realistic at all. Not if you've ever seen an actual fight.
No.
That's a great point.
So to me,
Yeah, that bugs me every time I see people that do these Bucks matches don't look like real fights. None of this looks like real fights. What are you talking about?
None of these look like real fights. Nobody's gonna punch a person and then let the other person punch them and then they go back and forth. No, that's not. You don't go back and forth with punches in a fight.
This is
Try
a tough
to knock
guy.
this guy out. Crazy. This ain't no movie.
yeah. So again, you have to take wrestling as professional wrestling. It is its own unique thing. It is theater. It is designed to elicit emotions and things along those lines. And that's a good thing. I think that storytelling in professional wrestling is a very good thing, and I believe in it.
Yeah.
But don't tell me it's realistic.
No.
Not if you've ever seen a real fight. And look, I grew up around real fights. I've been around fights my whole life.
The timeline is filled with real fights. Every time I open my phone, I'm seeing somebody punching somebody in a Walmart parking lot. Come on, this never fails.
Yeah, and it does not go the way you think it does. If you think that, again, people always throw the Irish whip out there, but that's a good one because people don't just like keep running until
come back.
There's not enough momentum for that.
No, there's not enough momentum for that. And I always say, at the end of the day, if wrestling was real, it'd be dumb.
Yeah.
Imagine like two guys like Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, but really try to win though. Come on, imagine how stupid. Just be two guys rolling on the ground for 20 minutes trying to get a pin. It'd be the worst.
Think about submissions, right? And like when you see a submission in MMA, it's usually applied for all of a couple of seconds because you don't want to tear a ligament. You don't want to actually injure somebody. So it's usually just like a apply, tap, done, right? It's not like a dramatic, oh my God, must crawl to
Dude, Ronda
ropes.
Rousey was tapping people out in 10 seconds in UFC, but she'll have Liv Morgan in an armbar for 4 minutes. Come on. That's not how this works, dude. You think Liv Morgan's better than all the UFC fighters? No,
Yeah,
dude.
no, that was definitely wild watching that match where she's like fighting out of some of these submissions. I'm like,
Yeah. I don't think
I don't believe you.
No, I don't believe
I don't
you.
believe
I do
you.
not believe you. That's a
But that's
world-class
okay.
wrestler, judo person. You know what I mean?
But a storyteller.
It's storytelling.
This isn't that. This is wrestling. That's why Liv Morgan can get out of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler's submissions because she's supposed to.
Yeah, this is a story. This
Yeah,
is
of
what we're
course.
doing here. Anybody could be anybody in a story here. Rey Mysterio can beat the Great Khali in a story, but although did he not? I don't think he did.
Right, Khali squeezed his brains out.
Yeah.
And I see people who are kids at the time. Now, granted, I was still podcasting at that time. We talked about that on an episode of RBR. But I have seen people who are kids that were like, man, that scared the hell out of me when Rey Mysterio got his head squished by the Great Khali and started bleeding out of his mouth. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how that works. But when you're a kid, like, yeah, you believe in the stuff. It's great.
Now that
so
one
that's why-
clip's been circulating of Big Show chokeslamming Kurt Angle off of that thing.
Oh, we had the
That
dead
little
body on the
smack.
floor.
I'm like, what were they thinking, you guys?
It was missing a chalk line. That's all you needed. It is.
No.
and he was back like a week later in a wheelchair.
He's back a
Like,
week later. Yeah, he
Yeah.
should be dead, but he was back on SmackDown next week.
Yeah, they had him in a wheelchair, but like, what happened to your head where we saw the pool of blood?
There was blood. Nothing. He hurt his leg.
he hurt his leg.
He hurt his leg.
And then it turned, because yeah, that was General Manager Kurt Angle. That was right. He came back as the GM of SmackDown. That whole period of SmackDown is so weird. Because like there was no like structure. Because the idea that like Paul Heyman was GM, but then Brock Lesnar left, and it was like, well, the whole point of Paul Heyman as GM was to protect Brock Lesnar. That like he was on screen giving Brock Lesnar all of the favors. He was making sure Brock Lesnar was protected. Like they did that moment with the where Brock Lesnar had to draw an opponent. Like Paul Heyman put him in a match where he's going to defend the title against any random person on the roster, and then he pulls out the name, and it's Shannon Moore. And then after Brock squashes Shannon Moore, then he pulls all of them out, and they all say Shannon Moore. And it was like that was the, Brock Lesnar was being protected by GM Paul Heyman. And then Brock left the company, so they're like, fuck him. They're like, actually, Paul Heyman's fired as GM. Now Kurt Angle's our GM until he's recovered from his injury. Then Kurt Angle comes back, and they're like, actually, Teddy Long, who was just randomly managing Mark Jindrak, the reflection of perfection player, now he's our GM. And it's like that ended up working out and being long term, but there was like no plan for Teddy Long as GM. It was just like let's just take somebody who's a manager on TV and we're gonna make him the GM of SmackDown and see how that goes. And that ended up being like
Teddy Long got a bunch of those because he was randomly a referee. Like we knew him as the manager in WCW, then he was a referee all of a sudden. We're like, why is Teddy Long a referee? And then he was a manager right after. Like, wait, why is he a manager now? Now he's the GM.
I completely forgot he managed Mark Jindrak.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that was the most random pairing because it was like they had paired Teddy Long with black wrestlers. He was with D'Lo Brown. Then he was with Rodney Mack, Mark Henry. Like they did all of that, which is so funny because Teddy Long kept that theme song after all that time, even though it literally says Mac Militant because it was written for Rodney Mack. And the theme song's talking about kicking ass, but that's like not Teddy Long. But the song just like stayed with him forever. But the funny thing was, yeah, they had put Teddy Long with all these guys, and they all kept getting injured, or like D'Lo Brown was released. Mark Henry got hurt, Roddy Mack got hurt. And they're like, well, now we're going to pair him with Mark Jindrak. And they're like, but his whole gimmick this last year has been, down with the Brown, back the Mac. Like he was talking about, they did the white boy challenge. And now he's just backing this
the white boy.
Yeah, now he's with the most random white dude you could possibly have on your roster. But he's the reflection of perfection, player. Mark Jindrak and Teddy Long.
Let me holler at you.
Holla.
I'll let you. Let me let you.
Why was that bit so funny? Why did we all walk around after that? Go holla, 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 holla.
Then MJF just do that this past week on Dynamite.
Yeah,
when he announced the match, he's like holla holla.
Oh shit.
Yeah, there's too many things that Dave Chappelle has given us that
Mm-hmm.
are way funnier than it should be.
Totally.
I mean, literally, I just wrote this song a long time ago at the beginning of this show.
He's given us way too many things that from that period, either from the stand-ups or from the Chappelle show that just lasting.
They're forever. Like I can't stop.
I have to say though, I actually miss. Somebody posted a clip the other day of Blue Streak, and I realized how much I miss Dave Chappelle, the actor. That like when you think about that run from Nutty Professor through the end of Chappelle show.
You snapping on Reggie? I can't never live that down. That's forever.
I just watched Blue Streak. I watched Blue Streak this week. On the noodles? Into the ramen.
He said,
I rip your tongue
which
out.
one, chicken or beef?
I rip your tongue out and lick my balls with this shit. That's how I get down, baby. That's how I get down. I rip your lips off and kiss my ass with them shits.
Shit, man.
Do the eye gouge move.
Man. I'm gonna have to pull
With
up
the eyes,
Blue
when the
Streak
eyes
guy.
come out the ass, when you reach it. There was that. Do you remember the movie Screwed with Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle?
Do I? Him throwing lamps at people the entire movie is one of the greatest bits ever.
No, I What's this movie called?
It was Screwed. Danny DeVito, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, no, that movie was like I used to watch that movie like on the regular. Like the whole story was that at every turn the situation just kept getting worse. That they had this like master plan, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse as the movie goes on. And at the end of the movie is like the lesson here is never trust a black man named Chip. And it probably doesn't hold up. I haven't seen it in so many years, but again, just like actor Dave Chappelle, I miss.
That is one of the few things I remember from that movie.
Was him hitting everybody with the lamp? Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's like, "Why did you hit him?" I was scared.
I was scared. They play up this lamp bit the entire movie, and it's just like once he gets to the end, he's just like looking around, and he looks at the lamp, and everybody just looks at him and waits for him to do it. It's great.
As a matter of fact, I gave Nyla Rose credit last year when she took over the AEW on TV account because she quoted Screwed. And I feel like barely anybody remembers that movie, but when she asked the question and before they could respond, she goes, "Who cares?" And I'm like, like that's from Screwed. I love that movie. Let's see. Meet Normus says, we read that one already. Thank you, Meet Normus, by the way. Jake Salazar says, now I hate LeBron. I can't stand that man. But LeBron got 50 tonight because of Dylan Brooks. Sorry, as Grizzlies better without Ja.
They're in spurts. They're better without Ja, but they're not going anywhere long term without Ja.
Right.
Tim Gordon says, happy Saturday. A lot of talk around Jay White this week. Should he have been put in a hotter feud right off the bat, or is this a fine spot for now?
Should he be world champion right now? We'll watch him. AEW world champion.
He's been there 2 weeks, man.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, guys. Just relax.
Yeah, like it's hard to say. As far as like, should Jay White's first appearance on Dynamite have been? Because I'll say this, I do think that coming out of the match, more people are talking about Commander than Jay White, and I think that
That was the point.
I would have put for Jay White's first match on Dynamite. This is honestly, I think there's probably a stat to prove this was probably the biggest audience Jay White's performed in front of. That I would have probably put him in a scenario that showcased Jay White more than his opponent. Because like this, I feel like Jay.
I don't know if this is the biggest audience he's been in front of. He's been in Madison Square Garden. He's been in the Dome.
Oh sure, no, I don't mean crowd wise. I mean TV wise. I mean as far as the TV audience is concerned, the biggest audience that has seen Jay White thus far, I think, would be this Dynamite crowd, right? Like he wrestled Rampage, right? He's wrestled Impact, he's wrestled in New Japan, but I think Dynamite doing between 800,000 and 900,000 viewers, and then usually after DVR, it's usually up in the million. That's probably the most viewers that have seen Jay White to this stage, to this date, and that's why I'm just like, I would have done something that showcased Jay White more, and probably. Because I think coming out of it, you would want people talking more about Jay White. He won, but I think I would have wanted it to be more of a showcase for him.
I will say that people don't understand what Jay White has been doing for the last few years, if that's the takeaway.
Right.
Because I vividly remember being in the building for him versus Juice Robinson. And a big part of the reason why Juice Robinson got over the way he did in America is because of Jay White and the great heel work he did. And so I think the point of putting him in a ring with somebody like Commander is to let Jay White give him this platform to make him look better and make people like him. And then Jay White does what he does. He snatches the win away at the end because he's the heel here. He's the bad guy.
And I'm not disagreeing with that because I think that probably to me would have been a great like second showcase for Jay White. I think that I would have just in this scenario, I think exposing Jay White to a new audience, I think I would have wanted to see Jay White out there and to not have a scenario where we're talking about his opponent. Because at the end of the day, I think Commander came out of it, even though he lost, Commander came out of it with all of the discussion. Commander got the all elite graphic. Yeah.
But I mean, he's Commander. He's the guy with the crowd-pleasing moveset, and he's going against a guy that beats you by being methodical and countering you. That's how it was supposed to go. I mean, I don't know. I just think people put too much stock into this. Oh, well, you got to look good in every win. You got to come in and beat everybody in your first few matches. That's kind of not what Jay White's character is. So why would you expect that? And I like this more than just putting him in there with a random enhancement guy and then them getting beat. Like,
I don't want to see like that squash match showcase shit. Like, I want to see some wrestling. Tony Khan, though, he play, he's like dream matches. Put these dream matches on. Let's do Commander and Jay White. When it first was announced, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if Jay White. I think I was having the reservations that Will Washington is saying, but then seeing the match,
I like the match.
Bill said it's like, it's for the showcase, and then Jay White comes at the end.
And then, like I said, it ended up being more of a showcase for Commander, and Commander became the topic of wrestling Twitter all day, for better or worse, on Thursday. Because that's how most things work. But he did get the all elite graphic, and Commander got to have what I thought was, again, if the intention here was to showcase Commander, then I think that was the right call.
Commander's in the match; he's being showcased. I don't give a fuck who's on the other side.
I'm pretty sure that was the intention of this match.
Yeah,
totally.
And then, obviously he's feuding Jay White's feuding with Ricky Starks right now. And I think momentum-wise for Ricky, so some are looking at it as, is this a hot enough person for Jay White to be involved with? But, like, Ricky Starks just beat Chris Jericho at the last pay-per-view. Right. So, like, this should be more of okay, is Ricky Starks, is he on the right path? Is this something that and I think you can kind of answer positively for both in that this works out for Ricky Starks because Jay White was a hot name, a name people were talking about, a hot free agent. And on the other side of that, Jay White needs somebody with some credibility in AEW. And here we have Ricky Starks, who literally just beat Chris Jericho, beat him, didn't lose to him at all, beat him clean twice.
Right. Two times.
Yeah, beat him twice, walked away from the feud. It didn't last too long. Everybody was worried that he was going to get sucked into the Jericho vortex. But like Ricky Starks actually just beat Chris Jericho 2 times and it's done. Yeah. It's a rarity. And so like now that it's Starks and Jay White, I think that's almost the right combination for those two.
Feels like it. Yeah, that feels like the craziest part to me of them being like Ricky Starks. I'm like, but you guys all want Ricky Starks to win, though. This is how he wins with the big feud against Jay White.
I don't know. I think it's turning into this weird catch-22 for people that want to look for something to complain about. It's like, wait, if Ricky loses this, then it's bad. But wait, Jay White just debuted, so he has to win. It's like they're just waiting for the outcome of this to go either way for them to go, it's bad. It's like, but no, Ricky should come out of this looking good. That's the trajectory Ricky has been on all year. So I'm confused. If anything, I would say that the Juice and Jay White stuff is convoluted, and it kind of has made Ricky get lost in the sauce a little bit.
I agree with that. Yeah, I can see that because the whole idea was, of course, to start it as Ricky and Juice, and then Juice gets, or then that was to lead to Juice bringing in Jay White. So, I'm hoping. To me, I think the next step should be kind of the thing Jay White and Ricky Starks both do best, which is promo.
Right.
Put these guys on the mic in the ring like soon, like this week.
This week.
That would be my next step here, is to keep the momentum going with these guys and really have these guys go at it verbally. I think people, again, the Dynamite audience needs to be exposed to what Jay White brings verbally, because I think that's where that's
his big draw.
That's his big draw. And then also we've already seen Ricky Starks get to have those moments. He just had it with MJF, but to have it in a more, and he's had it with Chris Jericho. But those are more smarmy heels. But now to take it to a more intense heel, I think would be a good test for the type of heels Ricky Starks can work with.
Yeah, and I also think, like, right now, most of the top players are in feuds already. You can't put them in the title picture.
Exactly.
Let's focus on the pillars. You know what I mean? Like, the lead is in something. Adam Cole's in something. So it's a perfect spot for him with Ricky Starks. That's somebody on the rise. Yeah. They both get a rub off each other. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. I think it's clear as day. People that are rushing to criticize this, I think it's pretty clear they didn't expect to get Jay White at this point in the year, and they're just trying to adjust on the fly. Because we heard for almost the entire year that he was going somewhere else, and then all of a sudden we didn't. So I just think plans changed, and they're trying to adjust. That's all that happened.
Everyone was under the impression that Jay White was going to WWE. Like we said it on this podcast, like we were all like, that's the plan. So for him, like 3 weeks ago, we believed he was going to WWE, and now he's in AEW. I think for that, to be able to come in with a good feud with Ricky Starks, I think is great. And time will tell. There's so much time, so many things, so many contenders. Like Jay White's going to be fine.
We talked about this on Ask Grapsody without you, Will, but do you think now, because Sean Spears is now looming around, do you think he is going to join Bullet Club Gold?
Why? Not again. Yes, exactly.
I don't know.
I kind of feel like when I saw him in the crowd, I was like, is this where we're going? I don't hate it.
They jumped him in already.
They jumped him in already.
I don't know. Could be. I personally don't hate it, because I think he's at his best when he is like a heelish henchman. I think the stuff he was doing with MJF was some of the best stuff he did with AEW. Right. So I wouldn't mind it. But at the same time, I'm like,
Are we sure? Yeah, because someone was asking us to, like, who else do we think in AEW could join Bullet Club Gold? And
dang, the more you think about it, it's like nobody else left to fill in that role.
Yeah,
unless ELP come early.
I think he could fill that role if he comes over here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's what they're heading with it in general, of having that little split. Because that's his boy. He never liked the David Finlay. And he always was Jay White guy. You know what I mean? So you kind of see it happening, but if he doesn't come over, I mean, Sean Spears, I guess, could fill in. I guess.
I'm still thinking about the idea of Sean Spears being jumped in. I'm thinking about Don't Be a Menace.
Yeah.
In this world, if you can't swim, you bound to drizzle.
Yeah, I mean,
the G is game. If you can't hang, you got to get out the game.
Oh man!
I know.
Oh, let's see, these ropes turned it.
Yeah. Now, but real quick on Commander though, too, we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Triple I Mania. The main
I just
event
watched
was
that.
crazy.
I just
Commander,
watched that.
Vikingo, Rich Swann, Swerve in absolute flip fest spots everywhere. Everybody
This
was
sounded like
going
a Righteous
crazy.
Reg match.
It was
and
for
a
me.
half.
They booked it for me. Two pillars of black wrestling, Rich Swann and Swerve. My
Yeah.
two favorite luchadors in the world. Everybody just flipping and spinning and just getting their shit off. It was a beautiful main event. Mexico. Swan was on his shit, hitting all his stuff. Swerve was going insane. Like, if you haven't seen this match, please go back
Amazing
and watch
match.
it. Man.
Amazing match.
Wrestling. I love it. It's too many spots, honestly. I've seen so many flips and spots.
Too many spots.
Whoa, Reg.
Maybe I like where's Randy Orton? I need a Randy Orton match to come and clean my palate real quick.
You did like a top rope a shooting star press?
I'm saying it was going nuts. No, good shit. And then I watched that Swerve and Nick Wayne match from Defy.
Very good.
Great shit. Amazing work.
Storytelling. Yeah,
all
very
around.
good.
Swerve is on his shit. I'm very excited about seeing Nick Wayne in AEW very soon. So
And
a lot of good wrestling out there,
Swerve.
my people. A lot of good wrestling.
Speaking of Swerve, I said this in the booking for what I think they should do it All In. I am now on the agenda for Ospreay versus Swerve at All In London. Do it. Just do the match.
I'm saying we all winning with that because that's crazy right there.
Let's see. We got Jake Salazar says, so what if Omos wins? Also, no, Reg. Brock Lesnar wanted to beat Omos because he doesn't like people of color.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, I think the funniest thing about all of this is I think Rollins is going to have a great match with Omos. I think he's going to give Omos his best match to date because that's what Rollins does. But that's why they keep doing this. But that's the point I've been making to y'all for the longest. Boy, watching people say things that I've been saying for a long time for the past week has been one of the funniest things I've seen in some time. And it's all right, man. Just say I was right, man. It's all right. It's all right.
Mr. Midnight says, love the show, guys. Still trying to get my voice back from the Hawks game last night. Hey, I'm there with you trying to get a voice back. Next time y'all in Atlanta, food is on me. Say less.
Sir, I'm trying to be in Atlanta soon too, man. On the real.
Yeah, there's a Battle Slam event coming up here.
Weekend,
I think
that's
tomorrow.
This weekend, I think.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Shout out to the homies at Battle Slam. They got a lot of great dope matches going on there, so super cool.
Yep. Got Monkey D Cam says, what year do you guys classify as the modern era of professional wrestling? I know eras can be defined by either a passing of the torch rather than the changing of a calendar year feel better will. I think modern era to me it begins 2018. I think to me the start of the modern era is All In. I think that changed so much in terms of professional wrestling. I think it changed the landscape of how WWE does things, and obviously it led to the launch of another company that saw people moving elsewhere. And I think it's seen the advent of new styles on TV. Now, to me, I think it's 2018 is the modern. I think the previous era ended in 2018 to me.
I would say 2017 because do you account in like the boom for what New Japan? Was,
yeah,
for all of the stuff that came from Ring of Honor that became All In and AEW. I would say 2017, and I feel like
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I feel like SmackDown was in a really good place in 2017. I feel like a lot of
2017 that was Jinder Mahal who they
I
started
mean, you still had AJ on the rise in 2017. You had a lot of good stuff going. I mean, I would say 2017.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see that.
Yeah, with the New Japan stuff for sure, because that was kind of like I think that's when like everybody other than WWE was like, we gotta kick this shit into gear. We gotta get to the next way up.
2017 wasn't a bad year for WWE, I would say. I don't think it was a bad year for them.
And honestly, like the, I don't know. I mean, because then I could even start to go back to 2016 because like 2016 really felt like the year that was the year that WWE decided to kind of adopt the PWG style tag match. That really helped put like the Usos and New Day on the map as a rivalry.
Yeah.
And so like thinking about that, I think that I mean, you could even say 2016 was probably like the start of the modern era. I guess, yeah, the second brand split was really where things kind of started to go in the direction that they are today. But I just feel like things are so different than it was then. Like, I don't look at anything from 2016 the way I look at it today. Like, there's nothing like Tribal Chief Roman Reigns back then. Like, it's a completely different character than anything we saw at that time period. But, like, that's why I said 2019, because he's been the Tribal Chief since 2020. So I feel like I can comfortably say that this era really started to come into its own around that period.
Yeah, I just had to do a quick Googles. I agree with the 2017. Only because that's around the time for NXT. That's when they really started like taking off for Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era and all those tag teams and great matches. And then, like you said, following up to 2018 with All In and continue on from that. I think 2017 is a good starting point for the new modern era.
Yeah, all right, that's good. The 2016, 2017. We'll say that's the modern era of professional wrestling really began around that time period.
That's kind of a long time for this month. When do you think it's going to change? What do you think is going to be the next thing?
I don't know. I don't know, right? Because like a lot of these guys are in their prime and cooking, but at the same time, and a lot of these guys are signing long-term deals, right? Brian Cage just announced that he signed a 5-year deal. FTR signed a 4-year deal.
Has always been a thing? I feel like there's always been like 1-2 year contracts, or it has always been like 4 or 5 years.
It's usually a 3-year deal. Like AEW signed 3-year deals with options, but now it's just like a straight up here's 4 years, here's 5 years. So a lot of these guys we're seeing are going to be around a long time, but at the same time, there's a lot of young talent out there. Yeah, and and like AEW is literally doing a feud around the pillars right now. They're doing a feud that's straight up centered around 4 young guys. So. I don't know what the next era is going to look like, honestly, because I couldn't have pictured this era at all. I could not have pictured this whatsoever. It's interesting to think about when back on RBR in 2009, I interviewed Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce. I interviewed the Ring of Honor World Champion Tyler Black. And just having those guys on the show, I don't recall thinking at all that they would be regular fixtures on mainline WWE TV today. And like, couldn't have imagined Adam Pearce would just be, authority figure, like the authority figure. And everybody knows Adam Pearce. When Adam Pearce shows up, he's going to announce something big, and you may like it, you may not. And it's on Raw and SmackDown. Like, who would have guessed Adam Pearce is going to be that guy? And then say Seth Rollins was not a guy I pictured even having it for WWE TV. I was convinced that Seth Rollins was almost too indie. I thought that at the time. I thought, Seth Rollins, he's an indie guy. He wrestles in indie style. He is an indie wrestler. And he's good at it, but I don't know what I see for him on WWE TV. And he's proved me wrong.
Around that time, I thought that Bryan Danielson, when they signed Bryan Danielson, I was like, this is the worst idea they ever did. Like, there's no way he's going to make it here, ever.
Yeah, no, they adapted really well. As a matter of fact, the thing about Rollins is, if anything, he kind of adapted WWE. He kind of made things adapt to his style. Yeah. Good example, he had a match with The Miz this week. Some are calling it one of the best matches of Miz's career.
Yeah, and a lot of people.
I wonder why.
That's what Rollins does.
And meanwhile, Seth Rollins is just like, for you, it was one of the best matches of your career. But for me, it was Monday.
It was just Monday.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing out of the ordinary for Rollins. He's like, pretty regular match for me.
Shout out Street Fighter the movie, which I think I have on Blu-ray somewhere around my desk right here.
But the thing with the Miz, though, that people need to stop with, no one ever says Miz is a bad wrestler. He's not. He's just boring and not. Nobody cares to see him do anything.
I don't think that it's that he's
Look at
boring.
the artwork on this, by the way. This Blu-ray this is the best. Jean-Claude Van Damme should have gotten an Oscar for this movie.
about an Oscar. You talking crazy?
Hey,
I
haven't you
don't know
seen
about
his inspirational speech talking about who wants to go home and who wants to go with me?
Nobody.
Nah.
We're gonna stay.
Nah, I don't know about Oscar.
Mhm.
I don't think Miz is boring though. I just think that Miz hit a period where the same old wasn't working for him no more. I think him as a heel was good for a while, and then they tried to turn him face, and that was the worst thing they could have done.
Nobody
All of
wants a
that
baby
stuff,
face Miz.
yeah, all of that stuff with Shane just was a complete and utter
Oh.
disaster for him, and you had to turn him heel again, and they haven't really managed to do anything that interesting with him since. But I wouldn't say he's boring. I think he's entertaining when he's given something interesting to do. He just hasn't been given something interesting to do in a long time.
I think. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm about to say, yeah, I'm always been a Miz fan. I feel like I enjoyed him for a very long time. I always say he was a very durable wrestler. He never really got into hurt. He stayed in his pocket and gave you great matches from time to time. But what happened is that as you add more wrestlers to the roster who's doing more, and you never change anything about what you do, then you kind of like fall out of favor, like with the crowd. Like you're doing the same things over and over again. People are gonna start calling you boring, and this just is gonna happen.
Like he's been doing the same match structure since 2010, bro. Like we gotta.
I mean, to me, I think Miz he regressed in a way that he didn't need to, and they feel comfortable with that. And I thought that that run he had in 2016, 2017 with the Intercontinental title on SmackDown, and then everybody always points to the Bryan promo from Talking Smack, but I think that one of the things that I feel more comfortable talking about that I think is a little underrated is the run on Raw from 2017 where he had the Miz Taraj, and I thought that was a good run for him, and he was really proving himself, having some great main events, having the matches with Roman, all of that stuff. And then somewhere along the way, it was like right around the time they brought John Morrison back. They were like, you know what?
Let's bring this back to you.
And you know what, though? I was looking forward to that because I was like, there's a story to tell there. John Morrison has beef with Miz. Like, you could really tell a story and make John Morrison a top babyface here, and you could make Miz be his foil. And they were like, nope, we're going to take the two of them back to what they were doing.
Dripstick.
Yeah, they're going to go back to 2008. They're going to go back. They are going to go back to the stuff that they were doing at the infancy of their main roster, main event runs. And like, this is stuff that neither of them needed to be doing. And I thought that they fully regressed these characters to where Miz looked for the longest time and has looked for the longest time like the geek that he was in 2008, 2009. And I thought you guys did the work to get him there in 2016, 2017. And then we're like, actually, he's better off just being
parody rap music videos with him and John Morrison. Like, no.
Man. I mean, you just reminded me, Mr. Raj was dope. I did like Mr. Raj a lot. But the stuff with Morrison was a complete waste of Morrison. Shout out to Morrison, by the way. He just won a big MMA fight or something, right? Boxing.
Morrison getting his shit off.
boxing.
Yeah, no, he's getting his shit all the way off.
Yeah, shout out to him. But they wasted his return with all that Miz stuff, and it was just like once they linked him with Miz, they wouldn't do anything else. Even when Miz got hurt, they were still keeping him linked. It's just, I didn't like any of that stuff. I didn't like any of it.
It was bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they didn't.
John Morrison said he's the only one that's won a fight out of all the wrestlers. He's the only one that can do that. Like John Morrison was.
Well, let Bobby Fischer heard that. Bobby Fish.
You beat up the Epic Mealtime guy, though, my bro. Like, I don't know if you can. Can you count that? You can count it, but it's
a
a little bit
dub is a
different.
dub.
A dub is a dub. A dub is a dub.
Let's see. We got a couple more that I want to read. Let's see. Almost there. Sorry. I want to make sure that I get everything right.
Moss there.
While we're waiting for you to get there, got to get into what my man is doing with For Your Wear and how dope that is. And
Most definitely.
Let's talk about that.
Shirt showing up all over the place.
Every mine in person, though. By the way, thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
That was really special. I really appreciated that. Thank you.
How did you get with the team over there, them young guys and Victor, and them young people over there in the wrestling club in Victor?
Yeah, I always hit up Victor and see how he was doing, if there's anything I could do. And then eventually Brian H. Waters is like, hey, Victor think about dropping the merch. I think he should hit you up. And then me and Victor started talking and finding ways that we can help the kids and know how to do the splits and everything like that. And that's just how I got started. Like For Your Wear just came out of nowhere. Honestly, Phil could tell you. I did custom T-shirts on the side during the pandemic for people around here, and then it just slowed up as everybody started going back outside. And I tried to find another way to do this, and then when What a Maneuver fell out, and a lot of our people was looking for ways to drop merch, I was like, you know what, I could do that. I could fill in that void as other people are busy and things of that nature. So from there, start working with different people. And then the wrestling club is one of the big ones that we're working with. And it's great to have those kids helping them out. Because for a while, I don't know if anybody know this, and I don't know if you like talking about it. For a while, Victor was paying out of pocket for Uber and all this other stuff to help bring these kids to these events and planning all that outside of the fundraiser he did for the wrestling for WrestleMania. So this is a way of them getting funding outside by fans and helping to get them to where they need to get to, and traveling and all the plans that they have for them, and merch in general for them. So it was great working with the wrestling club for sure. Later on, we brought on other wrestlers, of course. O'Shea Edwards. We done Trisha Dora right now has the shirts with us as well. And then we did Big Swole recently in the beginning of March. Around my birthday, we dropped Big Swole. And now I can also say that we're dropping today. Actually, we're going to be having the Hall of Famer Jazz as part of For Your Wear as well. So we'll be doing things with her as well. So we about to drop her merch. So when we get off air, you can head over to foryourwear.com and see some of her new merch as well. So that's what we've been doing. I'm trying to build this up. It's going faster than I expected. I ain't gonna hold you, but I'm trying to have something for us, not just us, but for everybody. Because one of the main things I'll say is that when people used to do like T-shirts or like spring tees and all that stuff, you get like $4, $5 back. And I always thought that was wrong because this is your brand. You should be getting the majority of the profit. When they're selling T-shirts for $25 profit ain't much. So I also try to make sure that everybody get paid what they should be getting paid on my end for what they're doing, because this is your brand. You know what I mean? So that's what's another inspiration behind doing all this as well, is making sure that the brands get paid what they're supposed to. Because I also have a podcast, the Mixed Tag Show with Jenna. He's supposed to be coming back in the summer. And we always saw like, $5. What are we going to do with that? You know what I mean? Right. So I always try to make sure that everybody get paid right on the other side as well.
Nah, man. Definitely got to give you your credit on that. Seeing the wrestling club shirt show up everywhere. Cody had it, rocking it this week. Signing the belts. Tyler Halliburton. Come on, man. It's
There's a lot of people. Tyler Halliburton,
big time,
and it's a great shirt too. Like I've got the white. I've got the white one, and it's it's one of my favorite shirts I wear. Like it's a good quality shirt. It's good quality wear. The print on the sleeve is always dope. And look, you're talking to a guy who just bought an NWO shirt that had a WWE logo on the front, which, by the way, I'm told isn't
controversy.
Isn't going to happen again. I'm told that certain NWO members were not happy about that.
Send Will a new shirt.
Send Will shirt.
Send him a new shirt, bro.
They did.
I did. That's the other part. I like to be, like Will said, I like to be interacting with our customers so that way they can feel, if something's wrong. If I can fix something, I can fix it on the fly. So that's one other thing is, we order from other places. We ain't got that kind of communication with the people.
Right.
And you got to wait like 2-3 months for something that you ordered and you want it. So,
man, speaking of Mixed Tag Show, I just think it's funny too, because I feel like it's long overdue you being on this show.
Here we go.
And just
shit. Okay, yeah, no,
I got your show before our show existed, and that turned into people trying to dunk on your boy because that's what people try to do.
Yeah, that was a very interesting time.
They try to get my guy Phil all the way out of here.
We made enemies that day.
Not the first time. Certainly won't be the last time.
Straight up.
But no, I gotta give you credit for always putting a lot of dudes on and giving people a platform, man. Because you were doing that with the IG show. You're doing that with you guys' podcast, man.
Right.
So big salutes to that.
No, I appreciate it. That's always been a thing. Like when we met in the group that was supposed to be about uplifting each other, me, you, and Reg. You know what I mean? Like we always was in that group, and from there, that's the way I always wanted to be. It's like uplifting each other. I never understood like there's a big enough table for all of us to eat. I don't understand why there's got to be. I need elbow room. Like no, we eating, we good. We good. Yeah. That's how I always try to be with everybody.
Yeah, big shout out to Brian H. Waters, by the way.
Brian H.
Shout out Brian.
Just a solid dude, man.
Everybody out here doing good, man. I'm loving the space that we're in. I always say it. Phil and I talked about this for years, wanting to be in this space. You guys doing this, Grapsody, Cam doing this thing, like everybody existing and just for the culture and just doing something super dope. So it's great to see. When I see that TWC logo everywhere, it's like
Yeah.
inspiring, man. It's really inspiring. So shout out to you for that,
glad to
man.
be a part of that. We got more stuff coming as well. We always try to find ways to help the kids in general. It just be that tape with the school sometimes, man.
Yeah.
But we trying.
Man, why am I about to cry? Jabari.
Yo, shout out to
Yeah,
Jabari.
yeah.
Jabari, man.
Yeah.
No, he got a store as well for your wear, so check out his store as well.
Yeah, shout out to
Yeah,
Jabari.
just seen Jabari in January when I was in Atlanta, man.
Tyrone Kidd says, "Hey guys, feel better, Will. Also, shout out to Miss Monet, who's having an incredible fun in Japan. Any chance Bailey Martinez might be a thing to look for soon?" She did tweet that name out.
What is
I don't
this,
know.
Will Washington? Why are these WWE wrestlers playing these games up here, man?
I will say this: I did see other tweets that were like, wonder what that means. I seen Mariah May say, "Man, I love Stardom. Maybe your friend would like Stardom too." And I was like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
I think that, I mean, look, I think wrestlers need to stop playing the
Please.
free agent game. Because I've noticed that the only actual people headed toward free agency are the ones who are the quietest about it.
Exactly. Nobody's loud when it's real.
Right. Like when it was, when Adam Cole was leaving, he didn't say a damn word. It was just like, oh shit, he just showed up on the other side.
He took all the meetings, listened to everything they had to say. He was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
When
Let me get this quick
when
game
Brian,
real quick.
Brian Danielson, he actually had an exit storyline, but he himself was fairly quiet. He wasn't saying nothing, right?
But
on
see,
the
I
other
don't
hand-
think that he was quiet because I think when you look back at that time period, it's not that surprising that he left. He was saying all
Yeah.
this other stuff like, man, I didn't have fun at WrestleMania. Like, hey, I'm looking at what they're doing over there. I kind of want to do that. Like,
But he wasn't doing that. He wasn't quite doing like the FTR thing, right? Where it
Yeah.
was like,
No.
hey, let's. Like at this point now, when I hear somebody talking about their contract coming up, talent, free agency, stuff like that, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what are you up to?
Oh yeah. What are you saying here? Why are you blacking out your Twitter page? Why? I hate that they're
Why you
trying to
moving
trick us
WWE?
because we can't be tricked anymore, you guys. We saw all the tricks.
I mean-
all the tricks are done.
I mean, I will say that some of the people that you would think are happy there are probably not happy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing
yeah,
is that the people who are actually like planning on making moves, they're doing so in silence.
Yeah.
You know what he said, real G's move in silence.
Straight up.
Let's see. Zucker Tuba says, who would you want to see take the belt off Hater if she were to challenge in the main of All In? And with Tony invested in Epic, will we see AEW in Fortnite? I don't know if they have that much of a relationship. But I mean, he mentioned that he, obviously purchased some stock in Epic. I think that was the story before. I don't know. I think that like the biggest story they have is Britt, where she could turn heel and take the belt off of Hater, and then you run Hater and Britt at All In. I don't know if there's enough time for that. I mean, All In is still 4 months away, so you could.
You talk about turning Britt heel after Austin. You can't turn heel after Austin and grabbing for her man and the soap opera of please save me. Save me, Austin. Why?
So I take it you did not like that segment, Rich?
Not at all. 0%. I hated it.
I actually thought it was good. And
Let her go. Please don't. No, let her go. Come on, you guys.
Let her go, Jericho.
I'm 38
Let her
years old
go.
at this point. I don't want to see this shit. I see that they're trying to they're trying to tell stories for the reality show, but tell it in a better way. Don't make me look like a dumb idiot yelling Austin. They said the real names. It's real. Shut up.
Shut up.
Paul, I hurt my legs, Paul.
Yes.
But I mean, this is Britt in Pittsburgh. This was the best way to get heat on Jericho and get heat on Outcast. I actually think it's the best thing the Outcasts have done since they've been together.
Yeah.
That visual of them coming from under the ring to accept the The Kindle stick I thought was really good. I thought the caning and everything was great. Yeah, it was over dramatic, but it's wrestling. I mean,
They
you
just did a
expected
little
it to
too
be-
much. I think there were some elements that I liked. I liked the like you said, that visual of them showing up under the ring, Jericho handing them the Kindle stick, but just the over dramatics of Austin save me and don't
Yeah.
touch her and the smooth criminal intro of
Smooth
leave
criminal.
her alone. Leave her alone.
Uh,
Moonwalker.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Toni Storm. I think on her IG, she shared the video of them under the ring, like laughing and stuff, and I thought that was funny. Saraya this week getting all of the wear out of that black eye picture she can is also funny.
Saraya's funny.
But the highlight of the entire episode was Mama Baker not letting that towel go, because she was like, "Nah, you are not getting this towel, Saraya. Get the fuck out of here."
She was not playing along. She's like, the camera's watching too. You are not getting this out of my hand at all.
Mama Baker was not going, bruh.
This is not a script. I'm not giving this up.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great, but on All In, I don't know if it'll be time. I wonder when is Thunder Rosa going to be ready? Like, because I think that's probably the best storyline they could do with Hater outside of Britt is Thunder Rosa coming back and having
Claiming her shit. Mhm.
claiming her title shot. But we don't know when she'll be ready to wrestle.
Yeah.
Maybe by September. But I threw out the idea, if you do it by September, if you wanted to do a clever nod to the original All In, you could do a 4-corner survival match, and it could be Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm, all the people that were in the midst of the interim debacle and the controversy from that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I would like to. I just feel like I want to see Jamie Hayter at All In have a single
One-on-one.
story. Yeah, a single story that centers around her.
I thought
gaming.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut out your draw.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna go opposite way. I was gonna say if they finish this whole storyline with Jade, that would be a good follow up for her, because she got the best record right now amongst the women. And after you have the title she has now, the TBS title, the next step is going for the world title, in my opinion. So by the time they get to All In, it should be time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I mean, All Out.
Do
Like
you
say All In.
think Ty?
No, there's going to be both. They're-
Right, there's gonna be both.
Oh yeah, we got Taya coming up. Taya is a
Right.
mystery.
That's
coming up this
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
So she might. I know Taya winning that. She has to. Like,
You think so?
Does she?
I don't know.
How long? How much longer do you do this? Like, who do you have beat Jade then? If it's not
I don't
Ty?
know.
That's the thing, though. Who do you have, BJ? Is Taya the one to beat Jay? Because like, there's something that comes along with beating Jay. You don't just get the championship; you beat a streak. You like, there's a lot going on. So
Right.
I don't know if Taya is the one to carry that on. You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like
I-
they want. I feel like the crowd wants. I don't know how much longer Chris Statlander's out, because I feel like that's the
every
one they
time we
want.
talk about Jade, someone's like, Chris Statlander, Chris Statlander. I'm like, do you know
Yeah,
how long
it's-
Chris Statlander's
yeah.
gonna be out? Though? I don't even know.
No,
Yeah.
It's
she
been
got hurt
about a
late
year.
last year, right? She got hurt
No, it
late
was in
last
the middle of last year.
It's
It
been a
was-
minute.
Middle.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah,
been
it
a
was
minute.
right after Double or Nothing. So
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, I would assume Layla is closer than Chris Statlander, because Chris Statlander was closer to the end of the year. I believe Layla was April when she tore ACL.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Gaming from Canada says, "What up, guys? Feel better, Will, and hope everyone else is doing all right." That WrestleMania, the arcade game, it is WrestleMania, the arcade game behind me. Again, I've been having fun changing out the game on the arcade behind me as my current shtick. And today, last week at the end, I was like, you know what? At the end of After the Week, a lot of people heard me have the epiphany in real time where I'm like, I haven't done a wrestling game yet. I've done Street Fighter, I've done Mortal Kombat, I've done Ninja Turtles. I did X-Men last week. Oh, but I have not done anything wrestling, and there's a lot of wrestling options. You might even see the old Royal Rumble from the Dreamcast arcade game up there. Throw that up at some point. I'll have
That
fun
game
with it.
sucks.
we look back at it. All of it really didn't really. Everything before PlayStation was just like, yeah.
So, like, for me with wrestling games, obviously WrestleMania, the arcade game, was not a simulation. This is Mortal Kombat with pro wrestlers. And But it was like cool to see at the time because like you had the digitized wrestlers and you're throwing like fireballs, like Shawn Michaels is throwing out hearts. Like this was actually wasn't bad. It was fun. But then like they tried to do a second one, right? They released that In Your House game.
In Your House, yeah.
In Your
For
House.
PlayStation.
Yeah, but at the same time as In Your House came out, WCW did the smartest thing imaginable, which was in Japan, they're coming up with all these wrestling simulation games. They're in 3D and they have a more realistic feel. What if we just bought one of those games and just changed out all the wrestlers to American wrestlers and release it as actually they barely even did that because it was WCW versus the world and it had all the international wrestlers and the WCW wrestlers and it was literally just virtual pro wrestling. They just reskinned it. That turned out to be the smartest idea imaginable because it was the quickest turnaround time for development. The games were critically acclaimed. Meanwhile, here's WWF who's like, okay, let's try and build our own 3D games. And they built they built Warzone and Attitude and all those.
Terrible.
They did not compare. And
Terrible.
They were having to manage that stuff from the ground up. Meanwhile, THQ over here with WCW games is like, yeah, there's a new virtual pro wrestling. Oh, cool. That means we got a new WCW game. And
I did play that on Nintendo 64 for WCW versus the World, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was the WCW versus NWO World Tour on N64, and then they had Revenge, and then WWF was like, we need a piece of that, and they ended up getting the THQ license. Then they got WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, and WCW was stuck having to rebuild from the ground up with EA. They had Mayhem and Backstage Assault. That shit sucked. That shit sucked. But meanwhile, even the SmackDown games, the games that we're literally playing to this day with the 2K games, were all based off that original SmackDown game, which was based off of a bargain bin Japanese wrestling game that I think it was just called The Wrestling. But it was like it wasn't even like a top of the line wrestling game in Japan. It was a game that was considered like a discount, like $20 style game that they bought the rights to, reskinned it. It became SmackDown, and that's the series we're still playing to this day.
Yeah,
which is wild. Just wild. that game.
I get to pick my own destiny. What?
That the series that took off the strongest, that became WWE's biggest. Well, because a big part of the reason why, because I know a lot of people were always like, why didn't they stick with the Aki engine that powered virtual pro wrestling, that powered No Mercy, all of that? Because WWE doesn't own it. And they knew that anything that they wanted to have as theirs, because even when Ukes was eventually given the boot and WWE has had Visual Concepts developing the 2K games ever since, notice they got to keep the game. That Ukes didn't get to keep anything. Ukes got to keep some animations, and they're using them actually in AEW Fight Forever, some of them. But the game itself, all of that belonged to WWE. They made sure this stays our property. This is an engine that we've kept this entire time. We're not licensing anybody else's engine. It's an in-house thing. They can do that. And that's why
Fight Forever, the game that's never coming out, right?
Fight Forever will come out. I mean, look, I keep hearing that from people. I keep hearing people complaining. This is the one thing I'll say. There's an old Shigeru Miyamoto quote that you guys have to stick by forever. Just remember, a good game or a delayed game can eventually be good, but a rushed game is bad forever. And so, like, if you put something out that's not ready, it's bad for the rest of time. If you can continue tweaking something, you'll get there. And so I always think about that quote when, like, look, Nintendo stuff gets delayed all the time. Like, I feel like wrestling fans have been acting like they're like brand new to video games. Like, do you know how long a Zelda game takes? Like, anything you're building from the ground up is going to take a while. But either way, we'll see. Somebody pointed out that the THQ showcase that's coming up in August, they showed a preview of it, and none of it had the preview did not have AEW Fight Forever in it, and that's leading people to speculate that that game probably will make it. They're probably not anticipating needing to show it there at that showcase.
Right.
So that's an interesting point.
Can they drop like a demo in the meantime?
Let's see. Will's be laughing until AI Dad comes out. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Laying the smackdown, wrestling and sports says, Will, what are your thoughts on of the writers going on strike? Possibly. I mean, I've lived through writer strikes before. We know how this goes. It actually led
more reality shows. More the challenge for me. It'll be fine.
Ruined heroes.
Yeah,
Ruined it.
Yeah, we know how it goes. Like, at least we've seen it happen. And if you've never lived through a writer strike, you know that some things that can happen is we could start with, yes, the reality shows. We had a lot more reality TV. We also had a lot more like purchased TV, like stuff from overseas that was like bought to appease American audiences while American writers are on strike. And some of that stuff ended up taking off. But at the end of the day, the writers deserve to get what they're after. And so,
Yeah. If you learned anything from this episode of us talking about AI and that, pay creatives, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
Let's see. All right, so Spotify's AI DJ sounds a lot like Ice-T.
What's happening? You got DJs too?
It's crazy.
Dang.
Orion Bid 666 says, who's more OP, Green Ranger or the Psycho Rangers? Ooh, the Psycho Rangers. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Phil. I felt like I was going to say something controversial, but at least I had you to back me up.
No, they were stomping the Rangers out for like a whole almost a month.
Let's see. Grim Spider 93 says, how y'all feel about that Snowfall finale? Phil got to talk about that. That was wild to me. Much love to y'all for making my Saturdays fun.
Thanks,
It
homie.
was very real for a lot of people. I think people were not prepared for how real it was going to be. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good send off for the show, and it was a really good nod to John Singleton. Rest in peace to him, and thank you for everything he did for the culture.
Yes.
Sean Tragedy says, Sentai plus Kaiju plus wrestling equals Kaiju Big Battle. I used to watch Kaiju Big Battle, actually. That was the silliest of pro wrestling, but I mean, look, the announcer loud and noxious, like I was all about Kaiju Big Battle.
There's nothing wrong with silly pro wrestling, man.
Nothing at all.
I've said that many times on this show. There's nothing wrong with silly pro wrestling.
J Love Podcast says, TK can't get the meaty men over. Well, do you guys want to talk about the meaty man? Because Reg...
What happened here, Will Washington?
You asking me?
We're going with that. We're going with what we've been going with this week. Is this was always the plan, which I do agree was always the plan because of Wardlow's trajectory. I think that they just handled too much of it the wrong way. Most of my homie's reign was about QT Marshall and like
Shall.
QT Marshall, and it's like there was a lot of fun things here. I liked what happened. He wrestled Penta, he wrestled Phoenix, he got that car. There's a lot of fun elements to this, but I just never felt like he got to really get out with the shit because it was always just QT Marshall looming. So yeah, Dynamite.
No, I haven't got to get my thoughts out about this. I was saving him for Day After Dynamite, and the Day After Dynamite didn't happen. I think Powerhouse Hobbs had something different that hasn't been done yet in AEW, which is to have a strong powerhouse, no pun intended, but I'm talking about like to have somebody who is a powerhouse, who is a strong heel, have a long definitive reign. It started to happen kind of with Miro. I think Miro's been the closest to one, right? And I said the moment Hobbs won the title that I thought that I wanted to see him have a longer reign with the championship. My understanding is that that it was always planned to be a 6-week title reign. And I think, Reg, you've kind of got the same understanding. But and that they wanted to give Wardlow his moment in Pittsburgh. But as far as this was concerned, I I would have wanted to see Hobbs go with it longer to have a stronger title reign. I like the defenses against Penta. I like the defenses against Phoenix. I was in the building for the one against Penta. And even him squashing Silas Young. I just didn't think it was time yet to take the belt off of him. Like, even if Wardlow was the plan to eventually work his way back up, I would have taken my time with that. I would have wanted to see, like, if him and Arn is going to remain a combination. Honestly, I kind of thought there was a piece of me that was watching thinking Arn Anderson, if there's one thing he's most proud of seeing, it's that spine buster from Hobbs.
I had that thought for a minute. I was like, maybe Arn's going to make the turn, because there has been some talks before about the big homie being potentially linked up with Arn, but they didn't do that. They tricked us. I mean, it potentially could be a long-term thing. I don't know. It could be something happening in the end, but I did have that thought of like, okay, Arn's here, and I've heard some things before. This could potentially go this way, but it didn't. And the Hobbs thing was also, just like you said about Wardlow getting his moment in Pittsburgh. That's why that was the catalyst of Hobbs winning the championship, is him getting his big moment in California. There was all the shows here. He won it in Sacramento. It was a big moment, but like, I don't want to just keep having big moments just to have big moments and they don't lead to anything, because that's not fun for me. I want like some substance. I want something that I can grasp onto and hold on to. And I didn't feel like it ever really got kicked off.
Yeah, I feel like AEW is starting to fall into that. I know with WWE, we always say the hometown is what's going to lose. And I feel like in AEW now, the whole town is always going to win. Right. You don't want to be that predictable when it comes down to booking and everything. Like you said, giving those big moments. He could have waited. Hobbs had a lot to give with that title, and there's a lot of matches that could have happened. I think they just circled back too fast. Like, and again, let's go back to the rankings. If we had rankings, then we wouldn't circle back so fast and go right back to
Wardlow.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was, for me, I think the thing I liked the least about it is how quickly they moved on. It was like right after the match. All right, well, Christian's here. It's like, well, man, you're just gonna just gloss over what Hobbs did for the last few weeks. Like, it was just nothing. I didn't really care for that.
It was so fast. Like 1, 2, 3. All right, Hobbs is out. Bring in Christian. I was like, well, let the man like be sad about his loss for a second.
I really need to get a reaction.
Everybody else got a rematch.
I don't like that part of it. But I always figured Wardlow was going to come back and win the title. I always figured that's where this was going. I think we got good things out of it. I enjoyed Hobbs winning the ladder match. I enjoyed him interrupting the press scrum and dropping the big ring on the table. I wish there was more to his reign. I wish his win got a little bit more weight, but hopefully they're going to circle back to Hobbs and do something else with him. Wasn't the biggest fan of this. I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm down on Wardlow. I just haven't been as high on Wardlow as I was when he was doing the Powerbomb Symphony and stuff earlier. Maybe Arn is the thing to make his act more interesting, because I haven't been that into it.
That's another fact, yeah. He's definitely declined. After a while, I feel like the whole Samoa Joe thing was working for a bit, but then it kind of didn't make sense. And then from there, it's just like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And it just continued down from there. I feel like they could have circled back around. I don't know, turn him heel, whatever. They should have built up his momentum again before he won it back.
Totally.
That should have been him losing the Hobbs. Should have been his switch. Like, all right, what am I doing? I lost it twice. Like, let me turn this back up again and get back either the crowd behind him or against him.
Did he even have another match after he lost to Hobbs, or it was just that match and then this match? Like, he didn't build any more
for a bit. No, he didn't have no matches. He just disappeared, came back, beat up a car, and
Yeah, like, I don't necessarily mind the idea that he gets the belt back, but I would have wanted to see him kind of work his way there. And yeah, it wasn't time. It wasn't time to, other than it being Pittsburgh, it wasn't time to me to have Hobbs give up the title like that, when I feel like everything about him was a new act. And and I feel like I liked Hobbs' confidence with the title. He was coming off like I was digging it. The fact that promo he had where he's like, I'm never losing this championship. Like, I liked it. I liked what I was seeing from Hobbs. And so I didn't like that ending as quickly as it did, and hot potatoing the belt back when I feel like the belt needs an established
Really?
champion for a little while, and but here we are. It's 6 weeks later. It was only a 6-week title reign. Like I said, I had tweeted the day he won it. I wanted to see it go to All Out, and
I remember that.
yeah, we
That's
didn't
how many
see that.
times. Like how many times did they switch hands in this year alone? Like think about that. Like I think it's like at
been
least been
a
like
lot.
like 4 or 5 times to switch hands. I
Right,
think.
because Darby won it at the beginning of this year. He won it the first Dynamite of the year, and then Joe won it back a few weeks later. Then then Wardlow won it back right after that, and then Hobbs won it, and then Wardlow won it back. You're right, 5 times. It's 5 times this year.
And
That's
like
too
Blue
much.
said, I don't want AEW to fall into this trap of like it's the person's hometown they have to get over every time. It doesn't have to be like hometown love.
That's
all
what I
the
think
time.
worked about the Brit angle, by the way, was that now that you have established kind of a good rapport with the fans to where the fans have been, because that's what I was saying a couple years ago, where I was saying AEW hadn't quite established enough goodwill to fuck over the fans, and I think that that's where Impact fell apart. Right? Was that Impact was like, yeah, let's fuck the fans, and we're like, people don't like you enough to do that. You don't
Right.
have goodwill. You don't have enough goodwill with people to do that. I think you have to earn enough goodwill with the fans to where then when you screw them, it's like
They're still going to come back.
Yeah, it stings a little bit, but it's like, hey, we've had so many great moments. Damn, you got us with this one, right? And like that's where I feel like they did that with Britt Baker, right? Where Britt Baker has had every single Pittsburgh show, whether it was the first one they did, Britt Baker beat Jamie Hayter, and then she had the show where she beat that's right, it was Red Velvet. She had that show, and she's gotten to have these moments in Pittsburgh and getting to beat these Pittsburgh wrestlers, or getting to beat people in Pittsburgh and have these moments. And so finally this week, okay, after 5 appearances in Pittsburgh, and she's gotten to come out on top. This time, let's play around with it. And she got the Outcast got one up on her. They got to beat her down, and that's how you do that once you've established enough of a good rapport with people.
Right.
I think now that AEW is entering, it's about to go into its 5th year, you can have a little bit more fun with the idea of some of the hometown stuff that, and they have before, right? Like the CM Punk is a good example. And we're going to talk about Punk here, where Punk, the Chicago shows were all his shows. They were pretty much his moment of getting to soak it all in. So of course that's where you had MJF beat him. Like that was smart, because you had already established that rapport with the Chicago fans of always giving them big CM Punk moments. But now you lost one, and that was
you got to give us a few albums before you get to Certified Lover Boy and drop fucking fans. You can't just come out the gate with fucking fans, man. You got to give us a few albums first.
Straight up.
Yeah, and
Buy the dinner first.
yeah, like you got to strike a balance. You can't get too in the habit of fucking fans, and you can't fuck fans when you're just getting started. And that was the mistake I think Impact made, because of course they hired Vince Russo to start, and that's all Vince Russo ever loved to do was like, hey,
Fuck the fans.
let's fuck the fans over on something. And as soon as TNA got started, he's like, all right, let's do this, fucking fans over. And it's like, hey, Vince, did you know that you joined WWF 30 years into their run?
Right.
And so even though you joined and that was an idea that you had from the beginning, there were decades of WWE being a family crowd pleasing company. So that way, when you did it, it worked, but it doesn't work for a company that doesn't have goodwill with fans. And it'll never work for a company that doesn't.
It didn't work for WCW because they had only been around for 7 years or something. Like those fans weren't ready for him to come in and keep screwing them, and he did.
Well,
and they didn't like it. They hated it.
Well, also all that goodwill over the last few years had been lost, because WCW did earn that with the NWO, right? Like they had enough good moments to where when the NWO happened, fans trusted them with this, and it turned out to be a successful angle. But by end of '99, there was so much non-goodwill with fans that when Vince Russo comes in and he's like, I'm going to do more of that. Like, no, you don't have goodwill with fans. You have to give people a little bit of what they want to start and then go from there. Ugh, pro wrestling.
What else did I hate in this show? Oh, the beginning promo. I hated it too. I hated it so much. I'd like Darby Allin is over as fuck. One of the most over people on the entire roster. Not just one of the most over pillars, one of the most over wrestlers in the whole company. He got there by not doing promos, right?
Right.
He's the
Right.
most over person by not ever talking. So why in the fuck does he have to talk now? If he's already over, why are you giving him something to make him not over? Does it make sense?
But I don't
I'll say
think
this,
he's not
I'll say-
over it though.
So I'll say this.
No, I think
Yeah.
people are there's bad, like people have a sour taste in their mouth after seeing him do what he did on Monday or Wednesday,
But
which is
was
kind
he
of
the problem with that opening promo? I don't think it was him.
I think
So-
him talking is a bad part of this.
So I think when you look at Dynamite, the last two promos he's had on Dynamite, everybody came out saying the same thing, which was,
Right.
damn, Darby did well. Darby really, he did well in there against MJF. He did
That
well
was
in
the
there with the
mistake.
mic. And I think the issue here was that, obviously there's confidence in Darby now. There was confidence in Darby coming out of the last promo with Sting and MJF. Everybody said the same thing. Sting was good. MJF was good. Darby owned that promo. Same with the first Pillars promo, where it was
mistake.
Jungle Boy was good, and Sammy did Sammy, but it was really Darby who came out of here looking the best. And I think that this was more a test to see if, all of those segments were controlled by MJF and Darby kind of lashing back at MJF. This was the first segment where it felt like Darby was in control. And I think that
he shouldn't be in control.
I think it's kind of a lesson learned of
Yeah.
that's something he's still got to work on. He's not quite there yet as somebody to control the promo. That's obviously still a thing where Max is really good at controlling the promo and then playing off of somebody who gets back at him. And that's what the Darby MJF stuff has worked so far.
I think the biggest issue with the promo was they just hadn't done enough since the last promo to say anything new, because they weren't really saying anything new. They just went right back into, I struggled harder than you did, Jungle Boy. I struggled harder than you did, Sammy. And they didn't establish anything new for us to kind of attach to.
I do think they did establish something very interesting, and I wouldn't say it's new. I just think that they highlighted something that we hadn't talked about in a long time, and I think that's the Darby and Sammy feud, or their rivalry throughout the company. And I thought that was the best thing about the segment.
Yeah.
The stuff that didn't work though is it was just too long.
Yeah.
It was just way too long, and opening with a long promo like that, it just didn't work. And also, man, I think people are underselling how good MJF is, man. Because
Totally.
MJF is good at not just in his matches, but in a promo, giving the other person room to look good. I think he's very good at not just finding a way to get heat on himself, but giving the babyface that's in there with him the chance to look good. Because we saw that with Yuta. We saw that with many other guys he's been in there with. He's just really good at it. And I think we saw that as soon as he came out, when people were like, man, you just see the level of stardom when he comes out compared to those other three guys. And I'm like, I don't
different.
think that's a revelation, though. That's kind of been the case for about a year. That's why he's champion. And that's not a knock on those three guys. I just think that shows that he's ready, and they're not quite ready yet.
Right. And I also agree, like, just opening the show with a promo has always been like, after seeing this so many years at the other company, this is one of the reasons why I love watching AEW, because I get started off with a match. I'm here to watch people fight. I'm here to watch the storyline develop. I don't need to hear you talk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the ring. I'm sorry. That's not something that I'm particularly a fan of. And then especially in this promo, the two things I got out of it is, one, everybody hate Jack Perry. And then two, everybody loves Sammy. Like, that's what came out of it.
Right, yeah,
And, like,
wait,
I was like, I respect you, Sammy. I don't like you, Jack. I was like, that's what I got from the promo.
Fuck
So
you,
now-
Jungle Boy, but I really respect Sammy. It's like, wait, what?
Like,
I didn't think
you're a
this was what we
douchebag,
were
but you
going
put your
with
body
this.
on the line. Like, no, this is not what.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
is
I got
crazy
from
when you
both
think
of them.
about it.
Like, they all
yeah,
did the same thing.
but yeah, you're right. I think last week's episode where they started with the Darby and Swerve match, it was just so much better because, we got to the promo after that, but we started hot with a match. And I feel like starting with that long promo, it just didn't hit for me, man. And again, I think there was stuff about that segment that I enjoyed. Like, I did like the Darby and Sammy exchange, but man, it was just way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the rare time, because it's only been done one other time, where a match was made on the show via the opening promo. And
That's also what I kind of hated about it. I was like, oh, this promo was just to get a match. You could have just announced the match on Twitter, Tony Khan.
but I'll say this. The logic worked here, because I always hate that trope. I always hate the idea of making a main event in the opening segment. And I've always hated it because I'm always of the idea that logically, what was going to happen if this promo didn't take place? Like, if I'm thinking logically in the show itself, was there just not going to be a main event? Would the show have just gone off the air if these people just hadn't happened to have this conversation in the ring? And so, like, oh, sorry, there's no main event here. Good night, everybody. And the show just ends half an hour early, right? So, like, that I always needed to logically make sense. And I at least appreciated here that the logic was MJF had already had that made. They just weren't aware of it. That it was, he was like, I spoke to Tony Khan. He was already, and he planned this tournament out for you guys, and this is where this is going to happen. That it's not that it was made in this segment. MJF came out to say it was already here. You guys are now being made aware of it. I thought that's one little point there where I appreciate over I think that's just a slight difference between doing a, hey, you guys are arguing? All right, fine. Here's a match right now. Versus you guys are arguing, well, guess what? It turns out there was already a match made for you guys to face each other. And so, again, just it needs to make sense if it happens, or at least don't do it in the main event.
Right.
But let's see. We got another one here from our friend Smiley. She says, afternoon, boys. Just checking in. About to get some tequila and chill out. Hi, Reggie. Love you guys.
Day drinking early.
What's up, Tracy? Disgusting drinking tequila at whatever time it is, right?
It's 2 o'clock. It's Saturday. You gotta chill out.
Honestly, drinking tequila at any time of night is gross to me, so that's where I'm going with this. Hi,
don't
Tracy.
like
Love you, friend.
You don't like tequila?
No way. When I
Tequila's
was
the same as
younger, I just like.
You're not a
if I
Patron guy?
If I smell some Patron right now, I will throw up everywhere. Just smelling it.
Casamigos, guys?
I might drink some. What's the Rocks thing? Extreme Mana. The juice.
Termina.
Yeah, I might drink some of that. If you send me some, Dwayne.
Yeah. So there's a picture going around of the three of us standing somewhere in Wale Mania, and that's what I was drinking, Terramana.
The three. What's the picture?
3 meals.
Yep. Now you know it's funny.
What picture is it, Phil?
My wife is that's her go-to. She's a tequila drinker because I think most people know I don't drink. And when we went on a vacation one year,
sorry, I just thought about Phil saying he was gonna get the extreme mana. I just can't. Sorry, guys.
we went on vacation one
Continue.
year. She wasn't a big tequila drinker, but we went on vacation. We were in Mexico, and we were doing this tequila tasting thing in Mexico. And so they were handing all of us were getting like, samples of tequila and various tequila. They were showing us the tequila plants, like all of this. This was dope, right? And then
I've done this.
And so we're all getting samples. And so my wife, of course, takes all of mine because she's like, you don't drink, so I'm going to try these. And she's like, damn, tequila hits. Like and so after that was pretty much since the day we got back from that vacation, tequila has been her go-to.
You know what's funny? The same thing happened to me. Before that, I used to drink Henny all the time. And then I took that trip to Mexico. And they did the tequila tasting. And I realized you don't get headaches after tequila. Like, all right, I'm going to go with tequila.
I did that too because I went on a cruise and we stopped in Mexico and we did that same thing, and that's the only time I ever tasted tequila that I liked. But I'm like, this tequila ain't gonna be like this in Oakland.
Of course, no. Expensive tequila is great, but nah.
No, Terramana's pretty
But like
good.
Patron and Jose Cuervo,
No.
I can't.
Nope. I'm good on those.
Corey's she drinks Espolón. That's her go-to. Okay. I know that because I don't drink, but I get sent out for grocery runs. So that's
straight edge. You never have, right? Triple X's?
That's not to say never, but once I made the declaration, it's been since freshman year of high school.
So never.
Basic, never as an adult. Correct.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that's
Nah,
just me.
nah. So when the invites are sent out to sing the Grapsody Boys places, send all the drinks these two guys way. It's
Yes,
all right.
that we'll take the drink
We,
tickets.
we will accept all of the drinks for this guy.
Big facts.
And I'm always the one driving. So
because WrestleMania weekend, Phil and I were getting our shit off for sure. Drinks. Oh, you guys want to drink? Hell yeah, pass it down here, bro. Good times.
let's see. Ricardo, last name TBD, says, "Hi fellas, glad you're feeling better. Well, thank you. I appreciate that."
Thanks, Ricardo.
And let's see, Chaos Control says, "The Irish whip never made sense as a kid because I was always like, why not just stop running?" That was my first.
Easy as that.
That was my first time until gradual acceptance.
Yeah,
I never
I
told
know.
you how I found out. I found out on UPN 9 News after the arrest. I think it was like SmackDown or something, and they were like, or something WWE. They're like, yeah, tune in after WWE, find out how they really do it. And they had them talking back and forth, passing info like, yeah, Irish whip, clothesline. Like,
What?
they played it
Right on the
UP
news?
right on UPN 9 News. I'm sitting there like, what?
Destroying the business, man.
Damn,
Yep.
kayfabe, bro. Come on.
Van Twinblade says, "I'm late, but if you are going to Glory Pro next week, you can meet the wrestler formerly known as Morrison by getting a meet and greet ticket right now. Get your meet and greet for
He's gonna be Johnny Glory Pro at that show or what?
Johnny Glory. That's actually really good."
Kind of blurry.
Let's see. Adam Russo says, "To be fair, Jay White is a classic heel. His job is to cut off the good guy and make them look good. That's his real strength as a wrestler."
Yep. That's his greatest strength as a wrestler to me.
Let's see. Robert Diaz de Leon says, "Morning, Kings. I'm just catching up right now, but anyone copying Macho Man's Be a Man since it's returned for limited release. Let me tell you, Hulk Hogan is a real big punk is a line that
Straight
lives
up.
with me for the rest of my life. That man did a diss track, a diss album on Hulk Hogan.
That's why Macho Man's a great. Macho Man is in my top 5 just because of that, not because of any of the wrestling, just because he made a whole ass record to be like, "No, this fool's a hoe." Terry Bollea. Thank you.
Eddie
Macho Man.
started out with the No Vaseline sample. The I diggity damn, I'm glad you set it off. Used to be
Used to be
hard,
hard.
Now
Now you done turned soft. Yeah, never forget.
Nah, man. Macho's
Respect you, man.
one of the greatest of all time, man. Straight up.
He was getting his shit off. I love it. But yeah, no,
let's
that
see.
record's impossible to find. So
Yeah, that well, it's getting a re-release though.
yeah.
Let's see. Zay says, "Will Denver is good, but Anthony Edwards is balling out." That's true. In that game that I just said, Jamal Murray had 40 points. Didn't Anthony Edwards have like 43? But and win. He says, "Balling out of his mind on defense and offense. Only if Carl Anthony Towns didn't play like he was scared. Could have been a way better series. Coulda, woulda, but didn't."
Well,
So
might have been worked out better for them if Anthony Edwards showed up in that playing game and they were playing Memphis instead of Minnesota.
Aha.
Yeah. Let's see. Lastier says, "Which female should join BC Gold? Velvet? Sky? Velvet Sky? No, not Velvet
I was like,
Sky.
Velvet Sky. No.
I know what you're saying. Though. Red Velvet or Sky Blue.
Where'd you get Velvet Sky from? Why she in this?
Females in...
That's a good question.
I mean, I've wanted to see Layla Hirsch in a faction for a while. I think that, like, I always thought she would fit BCC.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to have a female in that faction, I think she could fit Bullet Club. That'd be kind of dope.
I mean, the person that has like gunshots in their theme song, Diamante.
Diamante.
Oh.
Diamante would be a pretty good
Dang.
Bullet Club member. I like that.
I don't say give Kiara Hogan a chance, but Diamante.
Yeah.
Kiara might be kind of hot in Bullet Club too.
I love me some Silva says, "Went to Capital Collision last week. Awesome time. Glad you had fun."
It's a dope show.
Yeah, New Japan's got a summer ahead of them. And lots to go down. Let's see. Mr. CJ Lilly says, "Who, in your opinion, has regressed the most from once a main eventer to a lower level in character and in ring?"
We talked about it. Mike the Miz.
I mean, this person shouldn't have. We also talked about this guy, and this person shouldn't have been a main eventer to begin with. But Jinder Mahal is somehow worse off for having been WWE champion. Like,
Worst, yeah.
I
That's the
think
biggest fall off.
Yeah, I think at least beforehand he had all the people were doing the don't hinder the gender. One day he could be something, and then like they pushed him and he wasn't, and now like I don't think he's any better off for it.
I know
You
you
think
guys
he's
didn't
regressed,
see.
though?
Yeah, I don't know about regress. He's probably about the same. I don't think he's gotten worse. He's just like should have never been there.
Didn't that match with Braun Breaker like shit the bed though?
It's Braun Breaker. He
I,
can't.
I didn't
fucking
see
work.
it. So,
Did you guys? I know you guys didn't see SmackDown, but did you see the
I saw
clip of? Oh, you did see SmackDown. The clip
Yeah.
of Braun Strowman throwing Ricochet.
Yo,
Why did
what
he
was
do
that?
No, I haven't seen this. What is this?
What was that? I was like,
Rick-
did he like throw him too short?
Yeah, they're trying to do like a double team move where Braun Strowman brings Ricochet over
By
and
throwing
throws them into the
opponents
opponents, but he instead just slams Ricochet really
on the
hard.
ground.
It looks so weird. It's super
yeah, it looked
weird.
crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this Braun Ricochet tag team. They've had fun matches together, but like them trying to make it an actual thing, I don't know.
They're probably
about
gonna
that.
split him up, yeah, with this draft shit, maybe.
I forgot the nickname that Brian called him, but it was awful. They said on commentary, and I was like, please never use that nickname for real. That was
Terrible.
awful. I don't know what they're doing with the Vikings at this point. Like, I don't.
It seems
really
like they
get it.
keep trying to push him, but then they're like, maybe not. But then the next week they're like, yeah, let's do it again. I don't know, it's weird.
That's the thing with the tag team division when it comes to WWE is that you don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
Are they about to
men
put
or
the belts
women.
back on the Usos? By the way, like
Yeah, is
they
that
got a
happening?
tag title match next week, right?
Yeah,
It
the
kind
tag
of
team
feels
titles
like
next
it's
week.
happening.
They're gonna win, you think?
That kind of feels like it's
I hope
happening.
not.
Oh,
Because that's an all-timer WrestleMania ending.
that's
Like,
crazy.
go forward on that. I hope not.
I hope I'm
but I'll
wrong,
be-
but it feels like they might before the Saudi show.
Oh,
see it.
okay.
Yeah, I can
Night of
see it.
Champions.
But maybe they're holding it out for a while. Maybe they're not going to do it next week. But I don't think that KO and Sammy should lose for a while. But
They haven't had no matches with anybody else yet. They just
no, they haven't had a match since WrestleMania. But
Who KO
Yeah,
and Sammy? They have.
I mean,
Both
as
teams have.
as a tag team,
Tag
we're
team.
defending the belts.
not 6 man.
The rest of
Yeah,
the
they
Street
did.
Profits the next
Yeah,
No,
day.
I
Street
mean,
Profits.
as a tag,
Yeah.
they've
that.
defended the belts since then.
They haven't defended the belts though.
No, they had
That's-
the
they had
street,
a
but it was
regular tag team.
they had the
That's
Street Profits
that's what
match,
I was
so that
saying.
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't defended the belts.
Yeah, it's pretty weird in how they're like strapping the Rocket to Riddle. It doesn't. Does it feel like the crowd's behind him, or am I just when I watch it? It feels weird.
I feel like they've rewound a lot of stuff back before WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
it feels like nothing for the last few weeks before WrestleMania made mattered or it happened because, like, they've gone right back to giving Solo a win streak again, and I'm like, but
Yeah.
why? What was the point of Cody beating him then?
Yeah, so that was the reason I
I
put
didn't
WWE
realize that.
in the topics list. I put the WWE Draft here for the sole reason that it feels like things are kind of in a bit of a holding pattern.
Yeah.
That it's like until they get moving forward on the draft, things on the show aren't really progressing in any way. And
What do you guys think is going to be the biggest shocker out of this, if there is one? Is that possible?
I think they're going to split the Street Profits. I think that's the thing they're going to move forward on. They're dropping the hints at it already, which is interesting because anytime you split a team in the draft the way it's being done, you run the risk of somebody looking bad at it. And the reason I say that is because every team has the option of being taken as a team.
Yes.
But if I guess, are they doing the network draft again where it's USA Network drafting and Fox drafting? That actually was a good idea. I like that. Like, who do we want for our shows? I think that's a good idea. But the idea that, let's say, Fox is like, we want to draft Montez Ford. Well, I guess Raw would take him because he's going to stay with Bianca. But let's say USA Network is like, we want to take Montez Ford. Like, as a character, Angelo Dawkins should feel a way about that. He should look up and go, well, wait. Why did you
want
just,
both of us?
Yeah, why did you just take him? And like, there's places you can go with that. You could even turn him off of that. But if they're going to split them, like, I think those are going to be the shocker moments. I think for the most part, we'll probably see a lot of women's roster kind of shift about and see a little more balance in the rosters because, yes, it is very much needed. I think we'll probably see damage control broken up, like little things along those lines.
You put up a great point. That just put a will in my head. It'd been funny if they did draft Montez first. You know how after everything is done, they just let people drop randomly wherever, and Dawkins still land on the same show as Montez, but he's like salty because he didn't actually get picked. He just was just there and then do the turn. I think that'd be interesting.
That's a really dope idea. I think that because you don't have to draft them to separate brands, but just the idea of Montez being picked first, I think should set Dawkins off, and I think that's a good way to do that.
That'd be interesting
because it's like you could have taken us as a team, but you chose to take him first. Why?
Right.
And
I'm just here because you had no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's salty. Like that's a good story. I like that. Because like they did that when the New Day was split up, where Big E was taken without the other two,
right?
And as GMs, of course, you could, or I suppose if you're playing general manager, there's nothing stopping you from taking the entire New Day. You have them. Why wouldn't you take them logically? But if you want to make sure that you're sending a message that we wanted Big E more than we wanted the other two,
right?
That's why that's important.
Treating Kofi like the other two is just insane to me.
Yes, I know he's a guy who was WWE champion,
right?
He
never got his title match in.
Insane. I wonder how long, and to bring this topic again because it's become a heated debate on this podcast. How long are we going to do this two belts thing? Because why are you doing a brand split if you don't have two brands? If there's no brand split, why are you doing a draft? Why are you doing a draft?
I think that's the craziest part right now is it doesn't feel like I'm like, what could be a surprise when nothing feels like anything is split? Everybody's on any show they want to be on.
Yeah.
If you don't have two sets of tag titles, you don't have two sets of world titles. What is the importance of this draft?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of drafts, on the other side of that, as the rumor has it, there's rumors that AEW and the Saturday show launching in June, Collision, will also be a split roster. That they will have two rosters going both ways.
Another draft, an AEW draft.
Will they do the same thing? Will they do they need two sets of championships to do that? Or will they have floating champs? And
my question is are they going to say anything out loud about this, or is it just going to be like kind of implied, like, oh, CM Punk's over there and these other people are over there? Are they going to be like, Saturday is the CM Punk show?
I think it's going to probably be pretty hard established who's on what show.
Yeah,
is my line of thinking. I mean, look, they're reportedly going to run the United Center for the first episode of Collision. I don't know if it's the first, but it's definitely going to be the Punk return show. They really want it hammered in that this show matters and that this is going to feature CM Punk. So
I'm tired of y'all.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be an actual hard split. But man, don't gloss over my question. I asked a question. What is the point of this draft if there are not two sets of titles? If there is no brand split, what is the point of this draft?
I don't think there is a point. It's wrong.
I don't know, because like when WWE first started the brand split, they didn't have two sets of championships, so that's not necessarily like a prerequisite of having.
But it was still a hard brand split.
Yes,
it's not as hard of a brand split as it
used to be. The champions was just floating, right?
And right, because it was the champ could float. It was the women's champ could float, the world champion could float, and then everything else kind of stayed where it was.
They're going to need some kind of hook, like you said. Well, they're either going to need to do the Fox and the USA thing, or they're going to have some heads of SmackDown and Raw, because just willy-nilly being like, this person's over here and this person's over here is not going to be enough. And then the next week, you're going to have anybody on any show anyway. So what does it matter?
I guess the reason I say that is, what is the benefit of being a Raw guy?
Right.
If the top of that is just being United States champion, for example. What is the purpose of being a Raw tag team if you have no tag teams to challenge for?
Right.
What's the benefit of that?
There isn't. Seems silly to want to go to Raw at that point.
Speaking of which, I have felt like I still think they're doing really well by Gunther, and I heard that the title match between Gunther and Woods was really good.
It was excellent.
That was
good.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. Yeah, and because that was kind of one of Hunter's strengths so far as a booker, is that he's really helped elevate the mid card titles. But that said, I am not feeling it from the United States title as of late. And maybe it's just something's off about Theory recently. Like, I feel like he was on a roll when he came after cashing in the Money in the Bank and really giving that character refresher, and he won the United States title. But something has felt off recently.
Honestly, after that Cena promo, it hasn't really. Like, he
felt
beat
like
Cena
Cena-
at WrestleMania, but that Cena promo put
You
him
feel
down.
like Cena cooked him and he's just well done now?
I don't know if it's well done, but it's gonna he has more mountains to climb. Like you were saying, he was in a good position, and then that promo happened, and I was like, maybe he isn't the guy that we say he is.
I have a hot take. The WrestleMania match was not bad because of Austin Theory.
No, I don't think so.
No,
either.
I never said.
No,
I
I don't
remember
think
when I
that's a
said
hot
that was
take.
the worst match. I didn't say it was because of Theory.
It wasn't his fault that match was a dud.
I agree.
I think the accolade
Cena didn't do him no favors.
Yeah, I think the accolade of being U.S. champion and defending the U.S. championship against Cena at WrestleMania would mean more if they had actually done anything interesting with him after WrestleMania, and they haven't. They haven't given him any promo to gloat about it. They haven't done anything with it. It's the same thing with the Seth stuff. Seth got a big win at the pay-per-view, and he has done nothing to talk about it. The thing you should have done the night after WrestleMania is he should have came out and he said, I beat Logan Paul. Enough of that. I got rid of the influencer guy. I am owed a WWE title shot. I did not lose. I was never pinned. I want to be champion. That's where you should go, and that's the perfect. That's a perfect summation of everything they've done with other guys since WrestleMania. Austin Theory's in the same spot. We've never got him at any point coming out and going, I told you guys, I'm the guy, I beat him. That never happened, so it doesn't feel like anything happened again. It feels like a lot of stuff for the last few weeks just doesn't matter. They just glossed over it.
Has Rollins talked since WrestleMania?
No.
He hasn't said nothing.
No,
Put a mic in front of him.
he came out there to cut the promo, and they cut his time, and they cut straight to him just doing the theme song stuff and went it back. They put the vignette stuff on the TV next week. He wasn't even there. Well, I don't know if he wasn't backstage, but he wasn't on TV. And then they went straight to the Miz match. He hasn't said anything since WrestleMania, and that's what I'm saying. His whole thing should be, hey, man, oh, y'all thought Cody was going to win? Sorry that didn't happen for you. By the way, I'm owed a title shot. Cody technically did not beat me in the Royal Rumble. Logan Paul got in the way and kicked me out of that match. I was about to win the Elimination Chamber match. Logan Paul got in the way again. Give me what I'm owed.
And then he gets a title shot at Night of Champions where Roman beats him and then celebrates with the 1,000.
Oh, that's not a song anymore.
But I mean, even if he gets the title shot and loses, progress forward. Do something with these characters.
Yeah.
Like don't just have stuff at WrestleMania. Like I think the craziest thing to come out of WrestleMania is Logan Paul lost that match, but what did we get in the last few weeks? Logan Paul re-signed, great celebration. Hey, they might put him in the title picture. What about the guy that just beat him?
Right.
I mean, that's kind of crazy, is it not?
Yeah. It is.
I mean, it's the same
It's
thing
wild
with
that he
Cena.
hasn't had a promo since then. That's super crazy to me.
It's the same thing with Cena. Hey, Cena cooked this guy in this promo. All right, but I beat him.
And the crazy
No,
thing
but we're
is,
still talking about the cook.
I think they announced that Theory's fighting. He's fighting
triple threat
Bobby.
match.
Yeah, triple threat match. Bobby Lashley versus I don't know who the third person is. I forgot.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson.
No,
Bronson
was
Reed.
it Bronson Reed? Oh, I
It's
thought it
Bronson
was.
Reed.
Okay.
But it's just like, why? Why are we doing this again? First of all, I don't even like Bobby in this picture for the U.S. title. I don't like seeing
belongs
Seth
in the
there.
world title picture.
That's what I'm saying.
why.
Like, these guys belong in the world title picture. Like, you know what's funny? I asked Phil this earlier. I'm like, yo, Roman's like have limited time on TV. What is he doing with his time? Like, he's not shooting a movie or nothing. So why he's not wrestling or being on TV?
Just on vacation.
Why does he have both those titles?
Like,
Doesn't make sense.
none of it makes sense.
Again, if you wanted my great booking out of this, I would have had Rollins come out and say this and go, look, you never beat me. I want to be the guy to bring the Universal title back to Raw. One of my greatest failures of my career is losing that title to Bray and having him take it away. I want to be the man to bring that title back to Raw. And Cody has already made the point of the WWE title is important to him. That's your storyline moving forward.
Right.
How easy is that?
But again, you cannot have Roman lose and still be champion. That's the worst option.
Roman's got to lose them.
You don't have
Roman
to have
ha-
him. You don't have to do it that way. But hey, that's why you have a room full of writers to do creative things.
Yeah.
It's just any scenario that results
boys
in
ain't
Roman
crazy.
losing but still being a champion is no good.
So how do you split the titles?
You got to split him after he loses them. You can't have him lose and still be champ.
I don't like
Do it
the
after.
idea of I don't like the idea of a new champion inheriting the booking decision of holding both titles, because at some point you got to split those titles, and you're now putting that loss on a new champion instead of a guy that should have never had both those titles to begin with.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, like I said, the idea, though, is that now Roman has been undefeated for 3 years. He's been WWE champion for a year. He's been Universal champion for 3 years. Like, all three of those have to come crashing down at one time. It can't be...
I think we need to wrap our heads around this, and I've been thinking about this since WrestleMania. There is no satisfying way for him to lose both those titles and split
At this
those titles,
point.
and it's not going to work. It was a bad decision. It hasn't worked. There is no satisfying way to do it.
Nobody's going to be satisfied what happens after this.
There isn't. And I've been saying that for a
The
while.
last satisfying thing was at WrestleMania, and we can't get that back.
I got it.
Yeah,
guys.
we've had this debate for ages. I still am of the belief that Roman having both belts is still better than being one champion, and because I still don't like the idea of having a champion on the show and telling the fans, yes, but he's not as good as Roman. I think if you're going to tell people that you have somebody who's the best, then they should have the championship, period. There shouldn't be another champion.
I think the place that the conversation always breaks down between the two of us when we have this conversation is that it hasn't worked. And I think the thing is, even if you feel that way, can you at least admit that Roman having both those titles has not been good? It has not benefited both shows.
The only thing, because the place where I disagree is that I think it's better than it was before. I think it's better than having Roman.
Has it benefited Raw?
I think it's better than having Roman on TV, having Roman as Universal Champion. Big E is,
But I'm saying that's
but Big E was WWE Champion, but they were telling us
my question
Roman is
to you
better
though,
than Big E.
has it benefited Raw? Do you think it's benefited Raw?
In the sense that Raw has no prize to fight over, no. In the sense that
That's all I've been
hold on.
trying
In the
to
sense
say for a
that
while.
Raw has the biggest star in the company as its top champion, yes. I think that I would rather see Roman on TV.
How often
than
is he on Raw?
I would see, but still, I would rather have Roman on Raw occasionally than a champion we're pretending is as good as Roman. Like, period.
Okay.
I don't
So if that's
like.
the case, honestly, if that's the case, then it should just be one title and let him fight.
Yeah, and that's what I believe, is that it should be one
But
title.
even if you believe that, that's why I'm saying I'm talking about the circumstances we're in right now, and that's
Right.
why I'm saying if regardless of do you think it should be one champion, I think it's easy to have a conversation of how this reign has gone for the past year from WrestleMania last year to this year. And I think in a year, this has absolutely not been to the benefit of Raw. It's hurt Raw. It has. And I know you don't want to admit that, but it has. It is actively hurt Rollins. It has actively hurt Bobby Lashley. It has.
That's the thing. Like those people on Raw right now, like the Bobby Lashley's and the Seth Rollins, they have nothing to fight for. So now you've diminished their character on Raw and SmackDown to the point where they have to fight for the U.S. title, which is a mid title, when they don't belong to be in that picture. That was the point I was making with the triple threat. Bronson Reed versus Austin Theory, fine, that's cool, let it rock. But why is Bobby Lashley in that? Why does Seth Rollins have to go back to that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, SmackDown has a legitimate mid card in terms of fighting for the IC title. Your top stars are on Raw and have nothing to fight for.
Nothing. And look, I could agree with your point that it should be one champion, but if that means we never got Big E as champion or we never got Kofi as champion, I would take 2 titles every time because I would still want to see those things happen. Even if you tell me in that year that, oh, Roman was still put as the guy that was over Big E, we still got Big E as champion. And even if you tell me they cared about Rollins more as champion than Kofi, no, I still enjoy Kofi as champion.
It's always been
even
like that
so-
with them two titles.
but again, I still feel like Big E as champion to me felt like Big E as champion, and
Of
because
course.
it was like Big E won the title, but then like one of the first things they decided to do was they did that match on Raw where they did New Day versus the Bloodline. Bloodline wins. And then they were like, in the main event, we're going to do a triple threat match. We even have an out because one of these guys isn't Roman, and Roman still won. Remember they did that triple threat. Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley versus Big E. And
Nah,
you
they
still
can't erase
have-
who we were, Will. They can't erase what we were, Will. We ain't about to erase Big E's
Yo, I got it.
accomplishments
I
like
got it
this.
settled.
He was the ambassador for this company, man.
This is
Not
how
to
we,
do
this is
that.
how we get both titles off of Roman. We take it back to Undertaker Kane days. Do a split pinfall on Austin, and boom, we got two champions.
Fine.
Come on.
But they both have to pin Roman. I'm fine
That's what
with
I'm
that
saying.
as long
Fuck
as
two people to Finn Roman.
as long as Roman loses. Like it has to be a scenario where he walks out with nothing. He
I
doesn't
just want
have
him
his
to
win
lose
streak
the
anymore.
belt so we can stop having this fucking debate.
I know. I'm done. I'm done
Jesus
with this
Christ.
conversation. Like God. But anyway, Orion Ben 666 says, "Blue, hit up Alicia Fox. Time to get her some merch."
Yo,
That's a good
somebody
idea.
got a contact to Alicia Fox. Let me know.
Foxtrotters,
They-
the
they said
Foxtrotters
her-
are ready, man. Foxtrotters been ready.
You
Straight
know what
up.
I'm saying?
They've
Like they
been
sent her
waiting
away
for that.
quietly, and nobody even knew that. She wasn't even on the roster no more. Right? They
Should
didn't
be
do
good
no
for a
announcement, nothing.
podcast. One of them. Yeah. Okay, let's keep moving on. That's a good. idea.
Caden says, Omos versus Rollins. Sign me up, or sign me the fuck up. Omos Sapiens unite.
The thing I don't like about this, real quick, is that I don't want this to be seen as, all right, Omos is bad, and we don't want to see Omos on the
Yeah.
No,
It's not bad that Rollins is wrestling Omos.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad that they have not done anything with Rollins of note since WrestleMania. There is no story to this match. It just feels like, hey, we need something for Rollins to do. Hey, what's Omos doing? All right, here's a match. Like,
Yeah.
do something else, man. Like,
Yeah.
do something better than that, man.
Same
Has
thing that
Omos
happened with
been
Amos and Brock. It wasn't that Omos is bad. It's just like it's out of nowhere for nothing. Like put
Yeah.
some meaning to it.
Johnny says, right now, TNT title or international title?
International title.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OC cooking out here, man.
Yeah.
Dream Ninja 77 says, nah, Hater don't need to drop the title. She's killing it right now. Give us Hater versus Mercedes at Wembley. Let's fucking go. Again, that's more Forbidden Door. I think as far as Wembley is concerned, granted, while Mercedes is the biggest female star you could possibly book, and if you get her, book her for sure. I think All In Wembley has to focus on the AEW roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other problem with that is when you bring Mercedes in, she's gonna get a bigger pop than Hayter.
Yeah.
And I think you should let Hayter get that moment in her hometown.
Yep.
Right.
And so I think if anybody, you should do like Mercedes versus Saraya. I think that makes more sense for that card. And Saraya says she's wanted that match. There's a lot of history and story to that match. And if you want to do like a marquee match like that, do that there.
And now I got Phil, since we talked about it on Ask Grapsody, I kind of have Athena maybe could be making her way to wrestle Hater at some point because like they got a built-in star there too. You know, there's a lot that could happen over here.
I would like to see it. I mean, I think people have kind of glossed over Athena as the person to beat Jade as well. Because I think there's a story to her going away to Ring of Honor and becoming more ruthless and learning lessons that she didn't know before she got there and coming back for that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did pretty
So-
well this past week on Ring of Honor too.
She very
MVP of
every
that
week.
brand.
Every week, somebody's coming out. There's always a story about how, damn, Athena's doing great.
Weird.
Oh no, that's dope. Sorry, I got a cool, I got a cool story, and I feel good. Anyway, the Solo Sapien says, "What's good, fellas? A few weeks ago, y'all mentioned missing rankings in AEW, and I agree. Oh, well, you talked about that one already.
Wait a minute. I just there's balance here because I saw somebody say all matches don't need stories. Pay-per-view matches should have a story because that's the
They should.
purpose of your weekly programming is to build to the pay-per-view. And no, not all pay-per-view matches need a story, but don't tell me that since WrestleMania you could not have built anything for Rollins to tell a story to Backlash.
I think to steal a point from my dude Garrett Kidney, it's not stories that you're looking for, because not all matches need stories. That is correct. but matches should have stakes.
Yep.
Right.
That's what you're looking for. That's what you're after. That there should be something to gain from winning this particular match. You're right, not every match needs a story, but every match should have something. There should be some benefit to winning.
Right.
And just like Phil saying, pay-per-view is way different than a random
This
Raw
isn't just a
SmackDown.
TV match, man.
Yeah.
Like
And
if you want people to the old ways of wrestling being, if you're trying to sell a pay-per-view, what is the build to this match? What are you selling people on for this match?
And that's the problem. We're not paying for pay-per-views no more. Since you're not paying for
the thing is-
pay-per-views, they can give you anything.
But even talking pay-per-views, not every pay-per-view match needs a story. I can agree with that. But every pay-per-view match should have stakes. Whether the stake is ending a story, or whether the stake is winning a championship, or whether the stake is advancing in your division, there should be something. If the match simply exists, there's no stakes to that.
At all.
And that's what people are after. I feel like whenever people say, "Where's the story?" Don't ask that question. Instead, ask the question, "What are the stakes? What's gained from winning this match?"
What's the story?
That's what I want people asking. No more "What's the story?" Ask, "What are the stakes?" Because I think that is what advances professional wrestling.
Stakes is high. You know the stakes is high.
Let's see. Orion Bin 666 says, "Hi, Grapsody. This is coming off of one of Seahawks NGLs.
boy.
How do you view the face of a company? I brought up Bianca could be considered the face of WWE with all the publicity she does. Had a dude say, no, Roman has the belt. He's the only face. What say you? The company determines what the face of a company is."
The company determines, and Roman is absolutely face of the company.
He's the
Nobody
face
else
of
is
it, yes.
Right.
Nobody else. I mean,
I-
she's a good ambassador for sure. I think she's
Totally.
a good brand ambassador. I think probably one of the best women's brand ambassadors they've ever had. But the company determines who the face of the company is, and it's Roman Reigns.
Easy.
Yeah, it's Roman Reigns by far, and not just because he has the title. It's just the way he's presented.
If he
way
wasn't-
the entirety of the shows on Friday are built around him. If he's there and if he's not there, that's why he's the face of
Yes.
the company.
Boom.
And it's like Poochie. It's like when Roman's not on screen, people should be asking, "Where's Roman?"
Where's the Roman?
Let's see. Dan Cox says, with Punk news leaking early, do you see a scenario where they move his return up instead of doing the predictable Chicago pop again? Say, have him disguised as a reporter at the Double or Nothing press conference and demanding his spot back. AEW tends to play it safe. No, I think that they want to sell tickets to the United Center.
Yeah.
And
Not
If
only
they
do they
broke,
want
don't fix it.
not only do they want to sell tickets to the United Center, but the situation at hand is a situation where they need to play it safe.
Yeah. Totally.
They can't just plop this guy onto a random dynamite at this point. That's just not the scenario we're in right now. So no,
this has to be
I don't see that
treated
happening.
as this has to be treated at this stage as the biggest thing imaginable.
yeah.
Yeah. So I do wonder though, if you're doing that show at United Center, does that kind of debunk the report that they're gonna book All Out at the United Center?
Nope, it's both.
Interesting.
It is.
I mean, because what the
absolutely both.
first time they did, it was the same thing. What it was a few weeks before Chicago, anyways, right?
It was about a month before, right? Because it's
Yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got this one here. This one's from Kels. It says, make Wednesday night PWG/Reseda Cali style wrestling and Saturdays for NWA WCW presentation. All different announcers, maybe Moro or Golden Boy for both shows. Am I crazy? And says, Tyler Black have the same effect for AEW that Cody has for WWE metrics. I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea, though, as far as the Wednesday night, because we're definitely going to see the Wednesdays be more influenced by, I won't say like the PWG style, because I think Blackpool Combat Club probably remains on Wednesdays. But we'll see what Saturdays ends up being, because there's a lot of guys in the waiting. I can see Saturdays being the place to bring back like a Miro, right? Like a lot of guys who you've got the time and space for, and using kind of the Saturday show to establish them and do things with them there.
I mean, Punk talked about wanting to do something with that Miro guy at Royal Rumble on Art of Wrestling podcast. So
Yep.
So do we end up eventually get like AEW Bucks versus AEW Punk or something? Because this is looking very wild that we got to split Wednesdays and Saturdays like this, and these guys go here and these guys go there.
I don't know how
you gotta
this
have
is gonna
somebody
work.
like you gotta let it migrate somehow. You gotta
It's
I
going
don't
to
know
be
how this is gonna
interesting.
a lot of segregation. I don't know.
Let's see. We
We need
got
segregation.
Jason sent a few, so I'm going to read them all back to back to back. Jason says, Grapsody. So I'm rewatching All in 2018, and I wonder what Will and Reg think should be the potential card. I read Phil's great article already, but Phil, are there matches you didn't already post about that you could think would possibly happen?
Yeah, great article for reals though, Phil. That was some good shit there. Cooking.
Phil's up there as far as the top writers in the biz right now.
saying.
I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. I'm saying that because when he writes, people talk. And
Facts. And
I
debate
think,
and all that.
yeah. So
Appreciate that. I don't know if it's a match that I left off. I was trying to figure out a way. I don't know. There was an idea I had, but I couldn't quite get it to work.
I mean, look, I feel like All In to me is the place to do Kenny and MJF. I think that that's what I want to see at that show.
Kenny and MJF is your main event.
I think if you have the biggest stadium possible for AEW, who is your biggest baby face at the moment? And to me, that I think, as far as singles matches is concerned, is Kenny Omega.
I think Ken should be in the main event too.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking,
do you think Kenny Omega versus MJF is a bigger match than Kenny Omega versus CM Punk?
I mean, and this no, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
But I think that right now, in terms of the biggest story you could tell of the longest reigning AEW champion, Kenny Omega versus, I mean, you could even tell the story of him not wanting to let MJF get close to his date, right? Like I'm protecting my legacy, protecting my record. I'm the longest reigning AEW world champion, and MJF cannot get close to that.
And MJF goes over.
But I mean,
Yeah, probably. Or not. Why not? I don't.
Because I'm thinking of if All Out is right behind it, like then what happens at All Out?
Yeah,
but this is why I booked it the way I did in the article. I said that you should do the Kenny and CM Punk match on that card and make it a #1 contenders match for All Out because it's the week afterwards. And I would have Punk cheat to win. Not because I think Kenny should lose, but because I think you could delay the Kenny match until Winter is Coming, where Kenny won. And the whole purpose of it could be Kenny is, I want to win this to take it to Wrestle Kingdom, and it's closer to the date. I feel like it makes more sense at Winter is Coming.
See, the problem is Kenny's record would be up at full. Because, see, Kenny didn't make it to a full year, right? Kenny made it from Winter is Coming. He won it at Winter is Coming. He lost it at Full Gear. So he didn't quite get the full year. If MJF makes it past Full Gear this year, he hits the year. And so I feel like whatever you do, it has to be before you reach Kenny's record. I want to see Kenny's record on the line with that.
Interesting.
I know. I just feel like him wanting to take that belt to New Japan is the bigger story, especially after him killing it at Wrestle Kingdom this year. And the idea of him being the one that stands in the way of MJF leaving 2023 with that belt, with the bidding war stuff in 2024, I think he is the biggest obstacle to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Punk's not wrestling Kenny, who does he wrestle? If he doesn't wrestle Kenny or MJF, who does he wrestle on this big show?
Who, Punk?
Yeah.
Is he on the show?
I mean,
If you're bringing him back by
Like,
June
should
and
be.
you're trying to sell tickets to Wembley, you're gonna
Come
need Punk.
on, he has to be on the show.
And this is
I
the
mean,
first
look,
time you get
if you're doing a
AEW
pay-per-view
show
okay.
international.
Look,
Yeah,
if
he
you're doing
has
a pay-per-view at United Center literally 1 week later, is that how they're
nah,
going?
you talking crazy. You're talking
Nah,
crazy.
You absolutely. If you got
You
CM
talk
Punk,
crazy,
he
bro.
has to be in Wembley. Has to.
This is the
Has
first
to.
time some fans over there will see AEW.
Yes.
And
Has
the
to.
draw of doing AEW with Punk back. No, he has to be
But
on
by
that
that
card.
point,
Got to.
there will be split rosters. Are they going to successfully sell the idea of you get this roster for this big show at Wembley, and then you get this roster for the big
Well,
show?
All hands
at
on deck,
All
big
Out?
dog. Everybody.
Well,
got a
if-
show.
if-
I know. This is
you-
me talking in a world where the Bucks don't want to work with Punk. Like this is.
Yeah,
Told
but
you.
still,
Punk
if
versus Punk. The sides versus sides. Wednesday versus Saturday. Who runs AEW? Let's go.
yeah, but I'm just saying that if you live in London, for example,
Yeah.
you feel pretty horrible if AEW comes here after all of this debacle with Punk and he's not on that card in Wembley.
That'd be crazy.
And not just that, you're trying to sell tickets to that Wembley show. No,
think
Punk's
that's
got to be on that
more
show.
important.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
he's
wait,
trying to
wait.
sell
Hold
tickets.
on. Let me think about this. Oh, duh. Guys, Wembley is the first show after Punk's return. It would be Jericho.
In other news, real quick, the Brooklyn Nets about to get swept by the Sixers, 94-80 with 58
Yeah, I saw
seconds
that.
left.
Yep. Hey, the first
The
sweep
Nets
of,
are out, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
And
That ain't
meanwhile,
Real.
Durant's
they-
still in.
They snuck in there. I saw New York Knicks fans doing it. Don't you wish you were a New York Knick? Nah, I think he's good with that.
I think he's okay.
Nah, bro. We run it.
All right. Jason also sent up 2 follow-up questions. Says, this one is, also, I just started watching Impact again and already come to the conclusion we need Gresham back in ROH and out of there. LOL. What do you guys think?
No, he's been having good matches there. I've really enjoyed the Kushida match. I think he's had great matches with Speedball. I think he's fine there for now. I do eventually want to see him go back to ROH.
Yeah, same shit.
Not because I think what he's doing there is bad, but that's where he wanted to be. He always
His
spoke
home.
so highly of Ring of Honor. It just don't feel right without him.
His Ring of Honor, his home is Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
It's great. He's doing great work in Impact, but like he's a Ring of Honor guy. through and through.
I just hated the way his time with Ring of Honor ended as well. But I don't mind him being there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Him and Speedball
there's
have
things-
been doing some amazing things over there. You can't take that away.
And finally,
Yeah,
Jason
there are things
asked
I
the
don't
question.
enjoy about Impact.
He also says, and ROH question, do you see anyone at all being built up as the next challenger for Claudio? If Eddie is going to be off for a while, I wonder if they possibly go with Hangman. I mean, he hasn't been on this version of ROH, but he is a
No.
viable champ. Now, Hangman's got to stay. He's got to stay AEW. And that's like there's a story to the fact that he won the AEW title, built up the way he did.
Yep.
I don't think he goes there. I think it's got to be somebody built in the ROH.
This is, I think
Lexicon.
this is, if they worked out a deal with Impact, that's the only way you could introduce Gresham back a little bit.
The next challenger for Claudio. I don't know.
Legit, they haven't really. Nobody's even kind of set up to go there, so they got some work to do in these next couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm hoping they
he's
start
got a
doing it
while.
with the tapings next week of like, now that they can do a show that's more focused on Ring of Honor.
Yeah. When's the next? When is Death Before Dishonor?
That's usually in the July, right?
Yeah, that's usually in
so
about July.
We
got some time.
minute.
Got some time.
Let's see. We've got another one from.
So it's 52 mil. That's real, or that's just a rumor? 52 mil for this TV show. Is that just a number? Are they just throwing these numbers out, or
That's a guess.
That's just a guess. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff, but that is really just a guess based on what Discovery has paid for shows before.
Kind of like what happens in the past. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Like,
Why do
Andy,
people keep saying this number? What is this
like,
number?
Andy Nimity had a tweet that I thought was kind of funny where he said, there's all these headlines and discussion literally off of somebody doing math because that's all Meltzer did here.
Listen, man, I know that some people don't like Andy, but sometimes you think he's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Totally.
And Amy's great. Like I
Yeah.
like Amy a lot.
Johnny says, who wins tonight, Gervonta Davis or Ryan Garcia?
Tank should take that, but
Yeah. Yes, boy also says, gentlemen, who we got, Garcia or Tank?
I'm going with Tank.
yeah, I gotta go with Tank. Garcia, he looks like he wants it, but he don't really look like he wants it. It's gonna be tough.
Meat Normus says, the TNT title picture can be the most meat-slapping division. International title could serve as the cruiserweight title. Hobbs deserved more, but I'll let it play out.
Yeah,
I don't think the international title is. Or Orange Cassidy is showing that it's way more.
I think it's more a workhorse title than a cruiserweight
Yeah.
title. I think
Yeah,
that's more,
definitely.
yeah. Yeah.
If speaking of cruiserweights, if he's still champion by All In, give OJ Mo that title match. That's the one. Michael Oku versus Orange Cassidy for the international title.
That would bang.
Mr. CJ Lilly says the TNT seems to be AEW's U.S. title, where it's hot potatoed more, and the international is their IC title, the worker title with longer reigns. There's only been one international champion technically, and that's Orange Cassidy, because they are two different lineages.
Yeah,
but
yeah. How are we getting Pac on this card, by the way, for All In? They gotta get Pac.
He's on the poster, so
They'll figure it out.
Alan says, so who's next for Wardlow? Luchasaurus plus Christian? That's what it seemed they were establishing on Dynamite this week. Derek Gordon says, people don't want hot potato reigns, but complain when they know the champion isn't losing, like MJF Jade.
They do.
Hey, it's not a binary issue there, in the sense that there's an in-between.
There is an in-between.
There is an in-between between hot potatoing and having titles for a year. Like, I think you can do something. There's nuance there, pretty much, is how I see that. Let's see. We got Alan says, I was in Milwaukee for AEW. The Darby MJF Sting promo was fire. Glad you had a good time in Milwaukee. Let's see. Jake says, Jimmy Butler was right about Cat. He ain't him. Carl Henry Townsend is.
Listen, Jimmy Butler was right about every situation he was in, by the way. He was right. He was right about Chicago. He was right about Philadelphia. He was right about Minnesota. He was always right.
Shane Monster says, Stardom really slipped not putting more effort to ease Western audiences to view Queendom. I've dealt with it before, but I can't imagine Sasha fans trying to buy this event to watch and going WTF.
What time does it start tonight?
I don't.
I know my West Coast time is 11 p.m.
Dang, it's like 3 o'clock for me.
Yeah, it's like 2 3
It's all going to be record-setting events for Stardom, though, and I think that's the stuff that they're the happiest with.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why you would say that they've dropped the ball. I think that they've gone out of their way to promote Mercedes as much as possible. They put Mercedes on front of everything. Every time she does press conferences, they clip it right away and put it online.
Yep.
I think we've seen every single confrontation with Mayu online as soon as it happens. So I don't know if I would say they dropped the ball. I don't know how much better they could have promoted it.
Mm-hmm. It always feels like when these big Japanese events happen, American fans are like, we need to be catered to more. But it's like, I mean, no, you don't. You got to kind of adjust to their shit.
You got to understand, though, that Japanese wrestling is a niche inside of a niche.
It is.
It's only so much they can do to promote to American audiences and get people to watch, because some people are just not going to watch. That's just the fact of the matter.
Shucky Ducky says, Roman going to drop him Angle, Benoit, and Jericho WrestleMania style.
No, he's not.
The thing that I fear, because I've seen it going around now, is Rollins is getting hot enough that they're going to do the triple threat match. And I'm like, please don't, because I just fear that they're going to have Cody pin him, and that's going to be how he wins the title. I don't want to see
again, that's bad, because, again,
Roman needs to get pinned.
He needs to get pinned and lose both titles. That has to be how it goes. Caden says, Vikingo Commander cooked last night, worth the 5-hour drive to Atlanta. Where do y'all think Vikingo ends up a year from now? Would love to see him versus Ray.
If that's not inside of WWE.
I mean,
if you're not in WWE, you wildin', Caden.
I thought you were going to say, Ray Phoenix.
Yes, please. Thank you. Straight up.
I mean, I want to see everybody succeed, and I think that if he signed with WWE, that's a good thing. I think that Vikingo's a good-looking dude who's very marketable, and it could be a good thing. But I want to see him work where he works. Look, man, trying to beat them allegations. Look, we were talking about this before the show, and so, of course, this was an episode of Dynamite this week that I said that I didn't like, right? And of course, the next day I wake up, I have no voice, and I have, of course, the trolls coming at me going, "Oh, of course, on the one time AEW don't have a good episode, all of a sudden Will can't talk yet."
He fakes sick so he doesn't have to talk bad about AEW. That's hilarious.
Like, faking sick, by the way, now for 4 days, because you could still hear I'm not 100%, but I'm getting there.
It's not
Yeah,
better than
yeah.
when we was in the back room. So he
Oh,
sounded
yeah.
better than when we started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I'm
We
working
just
on it.
needed to talk.
Yeah, I think so. Eloquent says Mercedes teasing a match against Julia. Crazy.
We want it.
Want
I
it
kind
Of
bad.
course, that's the one. That's
Yep.
I think they've done a great job of making us feel like Mercedes could lose tonight because I'm just like, man, if she does lose, it's not a terrible thing. It doesn't mean she's done with Stardom because that frees her up to challenge for one of the other big belts.
True.
And Julia is the obvious option for the next opponent. Poor Tam. Like this is the second time where people have just jumped over Tam and like, oh well, Tam's gonna lose, and so it's just we want her to have this opponent. It's like, damn, Tam is dope though, man.
David Reed says Christian only feuds with people whose parents died.
Wow. That's wow.
Yo,
He is gonna cut that promo
Relax.
on Wardlow, isn't he? Yep.
Relax, man.
And we got one last one from this one's from King J. It's sorry, I'm trying to get the whole thing in here. Let's make sure we
Jay
can
White
get
trying to get his shit off. He's like, I heard y'all talking shit about me. I'm gonna give me a little super chat in before the show's over.
this one from King J says, the business was exposed to me on the Tuesday after the Montreal screw job when I read the Wrestling Observer for the first time. My uncle Xeroxed a copy from a coworker.
Xerox.
You know how old somebody is when they say Xerox.
Straight
A
up.
copy from a coworker. Our minds were blown at the shenanigans at hand. Thank you, King J, for this humper chat.
quick question: have you noticed that New Japan been been retweeting a lot of AEW stuff lately?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean
in a partnership.
Yeah, they're in a partnership. So, they,
I don't
And,
know why. Maybe I've been because I've been off Twitter a little bit too long. My bad.
Now that's a
What-
good thing. That's not a bad
yeah.
thing, Blue.
Welcome back around here, man. They're trying to get people interested in Forbidden Door and getting
Yeah.
people
Right.
interested in like
yeah, it's coming up here real soon.
It's still weird to see AEW stuff pop up on New Japan World, like and with like the Japanese commentary. It's still weird to me every time I see it.
Shingo on commentary. Super
Yeah.
weird.
So, Blue, kind of give the world, I guess, let them know where to find you. Let them know kind of where to see more, where to hear from you more, and what's next for you.
Definitely. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at BlueMagicGrind. Also follow at For Your Wear, FORURWEAR. I'm gonna continue working with more wrestlers, podcasters, promotions to try to get more merchandise inside the store. We're planning to expand some more for the summertime. More merch coming out in the summertime. Like I said today, we announced that we signed the Hall of Famer everywhere else, but where she should be a Hall of Fame at in WWE.
Big facts.
Straight up.
She's Hall of Fame at like 4 different places, but WWE.
Yeah.
Jazz. So make sure you check out her store today. Right after this, I'll make the store live. Just follow me on Twitter. That's where I'll be at for the most part. And then again, me and Jenna talk about bringing the Mixed Tag Show back this summer. So look out for that. And that's about it. I'm just be focusing on those things for now.
Love it.
And again, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Like you said, I've always been a supporter of you guys. I love the idea when you guys came together. And now I realized, like recently, I was like, oh, that's the show I called in at when you was at RBR. You had Phil on, and we talked about going to the show in Queens. And I was like, oh, it clicked on me. I don't know why. It was just randomly clicked in my head. Like, yeah, that's the show I called in on recently. But yeah, definitely thank you guys. I always enjoy everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you too, man. Your success is really dope, man. Super dope seeing them hoodies all over the world. It's just like an amazing thing, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Hopefully I can do something exclusive with you guys too. Maybe we
Yeah.
can work something out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Aha.
Folks, this has been another edition of Grapsody. Thanks for being here. For Philip Lindsay, for Righteous Reg, I'm Will Washington. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.